Chapter 971. I haven't felt this kind of feeling for 1,000 years, this kind of hug. I've only felt it once. Furthermore, on the day of their wedding, Yi Hua suddenly needed to go out to battle. When he was about to leave, he hugged me tightly and said that he would come back. Although it was only for a short few seconds, I have never forgotten this feeling in my entire life. It was this feeling. I felt as if my body and mind were being illuminated by the warm sunlight. Chen Yuqing's beautiful eyes, which were originally closed, opened a little. A familiar profile appeared in front of her. Chen Yuqing's beautiful eyes were filled with doubt, but it was soon replaced by surprise. Yi Hua appeared in front of me and he even hugged me. He was the same as before. There was no difference. The only difference was that her hairstyle had changed. She didn't look as good as before. However, it didn't matter. Yi Hua was still the same as before and his gaze was still so cold and indifferent. Chen Yuqing wanted to say something, but she was unable to say anything. She could only use her pair of eyes to tell Yi Hua how much she missed him, how much she worried about him, and how much she loved him. This happiness came too quickly. Chen Yuqing howled and laughed as if she was a child. Perhaps it was because Chen Yuqing was too tired, she fell asleep in Yi Hua's embrace just like that. Although she fell asleep, her hands were tightly grabbing onto Yi Hua's clothes, fearing that Yi Hua would leave again. Chen Yuqing, who was in a daze, suddenly felt a gust of cold wind and shivered. Feeling the coldness on her body, Chen Yuqing seemed to have thought of something, opened her beautiful eyes and shouted, "Yi Hua!" However, everything in front of him changed. He was still standing in the same place with the palace gates tightly shut. Chen Yuqing became confused. Could it be that it was all a dream? How is that possible? How can there be such a realistic dream? Yi Hua? Chen Yuqing lowered her head slightly to look at her fingers. Her lips gradually curled into a smile. Then she raised her head to look at the palace. Yi Hua was still the same as before, wanting to save face no matter what. Right now, Yi Hua was walking in the imperial palace, allowing the snowflakes to land on his shoulders. However, if one were to observe carefully, one would be able to see that a large patch of Yi Hua's chest was wet. This doesn't seem to be wet from the snowflakes and it seems more like tears. Yi Hua gradually walked to Qin Yutong's palace. Pushing open the door, Yi Hua took off the imperial gown, then lied on the bed and closed his eyes. Yi Hua looked like he was sleeping, but in actuality he was thinking about a problem. Did he really have to go back? When faced with things that had nothing to do with him in the past, wouldn't that be more trouble? Should he go back or not? Yi Hua probably wouldn't be able to think of an answer to this question. Even if I know that I want to go back to Heaven's burial ground, I still lack a reason right now. However, his subordinates had a strange expression on their faces. At this time, Zishan said lightly, "In actuality, his honor is still quite kind." Wei Chang, Lai Gu, and Zhu Tian immediately looked towards Zishan with slanted eyes. "You actually said that his honor is kind? That is because you didn't see that when his honor isn't kind, when his honor is simply exterminating the world." "Yeah, that Chen Yuqing is actually quite pitiful," Tang Wei also whispered. However, in the end, his honor was still rather gentle. Li Hun said with a slight smile. "His honor isn't that cold-blooded after all," Lai Gu said in a low voice, "but in the end I just couldn't understand it. Perhaps, his honor is still hesitating in his heart. As long as his honor thinks things through, his honor will naturally be fine." Wei Chang took a deep breath. This time, his honor can be said to have gotten into big trouble. The subordinates also sighed lightly. They couldn't help with this kind of thing at all. After all, this is his honor's family matter, and it's not like the enemy is a powerful enemy. If the enemy is a powerful enemy, it would still be easy to deal with. I would be able to help his honor in a matter of minutes. As expected of that saying, every family has its own problems. At this moment, the door of the room was suddenly pushed open, and Qingya and Donghuang Baiji could be seen walking in. The subordinates hurriedly saluted. "Subordinate pays respect to your wife. Everyone get up," Qingya said gravely. "Thank you, your wife." Qingya and Donghuang Baiji also saw the scene from just now, and they also saw Yi Hua walking into Qin Yutong's room to sleep. However, after everything that happened tonight, how could Qingya and Donghuang Baiji be able to sleep? Wei Chang asked respectfully, "May I know why your wife is coming so late at night?" Donghuang Baiji said in a low voice, "Wei Chang, Lai Gu, the two of you have been following Yi Hua for the longest time, do you have any ideas?" Wei Chang and Lai Gu took a look at each other. If there were any ideas they would have used them long ago, why would they have waited until now? However, since your wife asked about it, Wei Chang still had to say it. "Replying to your esteemed wife, we cannot be too hasty with this matter. Wait until his honor thinks it through, then everything will be fine. What we need to do is to not disturb his honor. Wei Chang gave the most pertinent suggestion. Lai Gu cupped his hands and said, "That's right, when his honor encounters difficulties, he likes to ponder on his own. As long as he thinks it through, it will be fine." "Then, how long will it take for him to think it through?" Qingya asked. Although Yi Hua lost his temper today, Qingya and Donghuang Baiji did not blame Yi Hua. After all, such a thing had happened, Yi Hua had his emotions too. How long will it take for him to think it through? This question made Wei Chang, Lai Gu, and the others feel troubled. Seeing that the two of them were not speaking, Qingya and Donghuang Baiji understood. From the looks of it, Yi Hua wouldn't be able to think it through in a short period of time. "Everyone rest early," Qingya said lightly, then left with Donghuang Baiji. The subordinates stood there for a while, then went back to their own homes. Qingya and Donghuang Baiji arrived outside of Qing Yutong's bedroom. "Do you want to go in and accompany Yi Hua?" Qingya asked puzzledly. "Right now, I don't even dare to be sure if Yi Hua needs someone to accompany him or not." Donghuang Baiji pinched her fingers. "It is better for us to not disturb Yi Hua. It is better for him to be alone." "You're right." Qingya nodded her head. "Right now, Yi Hua needs to properly think about it. If he doesn't go back, he will have to bear the reputation of being unfilial. However, to Yi Hua, he doesn't care about this reputation at all. After all, his reputation in the past was already very bad. However, if he were to go back, he would have to face his family and even some of his brothers. Furthermore, this would disrupt Yi Hua's original plan. After all, it was still not the time for Yi Hua to appear in God's realm, because the people in Kangluo continent had not been dealt with yet. The night gradually dispersed and a new dawn arrived. Qian Yuqing was still standing outside of the palace, and the streets at the side were all sealed off. Not even a mosquito would be able to enter. However, this situation attracted the attention of the residents, and all of them were guessing what was going on. Especially the anomaly that appeared last night, that 30,000-meter tall machete, that terrifying vibration. Just what exactly is going on? Everyone was gossiping about this matter in their spare time, and they felt that this matter is definitely related to that woman. What relationship does that woman have with the emperor? Right now, everyone was guessing. The emperor's younger brother is a god. Could it be that this woman who suddenly appeared is a god as well? Chapter 972. Who is she to the emperor? Elder sister or younger sister? Or wife? Or mother? But no matter what her identity is, there is always one thing that is correct, and that is a deity. This Wuxia Empire is protected by a deity, who would dare to come and cause trouble for them. This is what all of Wuxia Empire's citizens care about. They feel that their safety has received another layer of protection. They even feel that in the entire Kangluo continent, Wuxia Empire is the most awesome, and the others are all trash. Within the imperial palace, Yi Hua sat in Qing Yutong's palace and enjoyed his breakfast. There was only a fruit jianbing, but it was also one of Yi Hua's favorite breakfast. "Every time I eat this fruit jianbing with egg and ham, I will think of that auntie, the only person who dares to talk back to me. To be more accurate, it should be said that I am teaching her a lesson. But I actually continue to listen to her. Could it be that I lack a lesson? Bullshit. I have always been the one teaching others how to do things. When did it become someone else's turn to teach me a lesson? Master, the fruit jianbing won't taste good when it gets cold." Daji, who was serving at the side, reminded. Yi Hua picked up the fruit jianbing on the plate and took a bite. "I feel that today's fruit jianbing doesn't taste good at all." Yi Hua lightly placed the fruit jianbing on the table and asked faintly, "Are you still standing outside?" Replying to Master, "Yes." Yi Hua took in a deep breath, then stepped out of the room. Daji picked up the fruit jianbing on the table and took a bite at the place where Yi Hua had just bitten. Daji revealed out a satisfied smile. So fragrant to Daji, this was a type of satisfaction. Walking in his huge imperial palace, Yi Hua discovered that he had nowhere to go. He felt very bored no matter where he went. Should I go look for Qingya and Donghuang Baiji? I just scolded them yesterday and I am going to look for them today. This isn't my style. It's still Qian Yuqing who is standing at the entrance. Towards this woman, Yi Hua didn't know how to choose. Like her? How is that possible? Don't like her? Then why did I save her yesterday night? It must be the pity of this Supreme Lord that is causing mischief. As expected, I shouldn't have cultivated my humanity back then. Great, I have cultivated myself into an indecisive person. I am still overcautious when making a decision. 3 days passed by very quickly, and Yi Hua still did not go out to see Qian Yuqing. Qian Yuqing had been standing at the entrance of the palace the whole time. Her attitude was very clear. If you don't meet Yuqing face to face, don't even think about letting Yuqing go. Things were rather calm here, but something big had happened in Lingdu. Chen Yuqing's maid noticed that the young miss was missing. Chen clan was instantly shaken. Huang Yun soon received the news that his fiancée had actually gone missing. Instantly he flew into a rage. Yi Juetian thought that his sister-in-law would be able to bring his big brother back within a day. But unexpectedly, it had been 3 days and sister-in-law still hadn't come back, and she had been discovered. Because of Imperial Cloud, the entire spirit capital was under martial law, and they began to interrogate and investigate the news. Yi Juetian was incomparably worried right now. If this matter were to be exposed, it would definitely not be a good thing. Moreover, Yi Juetian was sure that they would be looking for him very soon. Huang Yun definitely knew that he was close to sister-in-law. What should he do? Little Tian, are you outside? At this moment, Yi Juetian was standing in front of his mother's house. Lu Jing's shouts could be heard from inside. Yi Juetian pushed open the door and entered the house, then revealed a smile. Mother. Lu Jing's expression was a lot better, and a trace of redness could be seen on her face. This was all thanks to the spiritual spring. However, Yi Juetian noticed that today, his mother seemed to be a bit strange, as if she was very agitated. Little Tian, come to mother's side. Lu Jing called out tenderly. Yi Juetian walked to his mother's side and sat down, then turned his head around and said with a smile, Mother, what happened? Where did Yuqing go? Lu Jing asked straightforwardly. Yi Juetian went into a daze. Could it be that mother discovered something? This shouldn't be. I and sister-in-law did it so secretly, mother shouldn't have discovered it. Little Tian, Yuqing has never been like this before, and this time she suddenly disappeared. Furthermore, it was after you went to look for Yuqing. Mother isn't an idiot. Tell mother, is it because of your big brother? The agitated Lu Jing immediately grabbed onto Yi Juetian's hand. Yi Juetian felt the strength of his mother's hand, and he could feel that his mother's hand was slightly trembling. After Lu Jing found out that Yuqing had disappeared, she only had a single thought in her mind, and that was Yuqing definitely had news about Yi Hua. If not, Yuqing wouldn't have left just like that. Little Tian. Tell mother, did you find your big brother? Hearing his mother's pleading, Yi Juetian finally couldn't bear it anymore. That's right, I found big brother. Sister-in-law went to look for big brother. Yi Juetian didn't hide it anymore. At the same time, he knew that since there wasn't any reaction from sister-in-law for a few days, it was definitely because big brother wasn't willing to come back. When Lu Jing heard her son's words, her entire body froze. Her lips were slightly trembling, and a layer of mist appeared in her eyes. Standing up, Lu Jing knelt down in front of the god and paid her respects. God bless my son, my Yi Hua is still alive. As she spoke, Lu Jing's tone became choked with sobs. Yi Juetian helped his mother up. Mother, you can't be too agitated. Little Tian, this is great, this is great. Lu Jing looked at her youngest son with a face full of joy. Lu Jing felt that her entire world had brightened up. After waiting for so many years, this day is finally here. Yi Juetian didn't even know what to say. Mother is so happy, could it be that I am going to be punished again? Looking at her youngest son's expression, Lu Jing lightly caressed Yi Juetian's face. Is Yi Hua not willing to come back? Lu Jing was indeed worthy of being the talented woman of the past. Her foresight was like a god. If Yi Hua was willing to come back, he would have long returned together with his youngest son. If Yuqing was willing to come back, she would have brought Yi Hua back long ago. However, even now Yi Hua was still not back. There was only one possibility, and that was that Yi Hua wasn't willing to come back. Mother, big brother lost his memory. Yi Juetian naturally had to explain. Lu Jing chuckled. Then it makes sense. No wonder your brother isn't willing to come back. Mother, but what? Yi Juetian wanted to say something, but he didn't dare to. Should he say it or not? But big brother has changed a lot. He's not the same big brother as before. Yi Juetian felt that he had to tell his mother so that she could be mentally prepared. If his big brother came back, at least his mother would know about it and wouldn't be so sad. Lu Jing sighed heavily after hearing this. Your big brother lost his memory, so it's normal for him to have some changes. But mother, big brother has changed a lot. At this moment, Lu Jing couldn't help but become vigilant. Do you still not know what kind of moral character Yi Hua has? Take pleasure in helping others, love the people, and eradicate evil. He would do all kinds of good deeds, and wherever there was injustice, he would rush there to save the people who were living in the abyss of suffering. That was why Yi Hua was deeply loved and respected by the people back then. Chapter 973. Is your big brother living well now? Lu Jing asked lightly, not in a hurry to ask why. Big brother is currently living in Kangluo continent, he is an emperor. Yi Juetian said softly, thinking that big brother is currently a tyrant. Lu Jing laughed, then he should be a good emperor. I feel that Yi Hua is made to be an emperor. In the past, Lu Jing wouldn't dare to say such disrespectful words, but right now she was too happy, so she said it. Mother, I don't know if big brother is a good emperor or not, but when I saw big brother he was currently massacring some defenseless people. There were old and young, tens of thousands of people were all beheaded. Impossible. After hearing this, Lu Jing was so excited that she stood up. In Lu Jing's heart, Yi Hua definitely wouldn't do such a thing. How could he possibly go and kill some defenseless people? I saw it with my own eyes. Those people seem to have angered big brother, but big brother's way of doing things is too extreme. As a deity, Yi Juetian had been instilled with great principles since he was young, and back then Yi Hua was also the same. I wonder if this should be called brainwashing. Did your big brother do anything else? Right now, Lu Jing still didn't dare to be sure. There was definitely something that he had no choice but to do. Big brother married 2 wives. Lu Jing didn't become unhappy after hearing this. Although deities were monogamous, that was only for commoners. For some experts, it was very normal for them to have a few more women to reproduce. Have you seen those 2 women? How are their characters? Lu Jing asked curiously. After all, they were her son's wives, she still had to ask about them. Yi Juetian nodded, and big brother's 2 wives seem to be pretty good. They are comparable to big sister-in-law. Lu Jing laughed lightly, then revealed a helpless expression. Does your big sister-in-law know? Understood. This is really hard for Yuqing. After waiting for Yi Hua for so many years, after being infatuated with him for so many years, Yi Hua actually married someone else. Lu Jing sighed lightly. Right now her daughter-in-law, Lu Jing only recognizes Chen Yuqing. After all, Chen Yuqing had been watching over Yi Hua for so many years. Such a daughter-in-law was really hard to find. Why isn't your big brother willing to come back? Lu Jing finally asked this crucial question. Although her son had lost his memory, he was still unwilling to come back. As a mother, how could she not feel heartache for the flesh that fell from her body? Yi Juetian still decided not to say the exact words. Big brother, you still haven't mentally prepared yourself, right? Just accept it. After all, my appearance was very unexpected. That's true. After all, your big brother has been wandering outside for thousands of years. I can understand. Although Lu Jing said so, she felt a little sad in her heart. However, at this moment, the sound of hurried footsteps came from the door. Bang! The door was pushed open by a man, and Yi Juetian immediately stood at the side and respectfully called out, Lord Father. That's right, the person who came was the patriarch of Yi family, Yi Shan, who was also Yi Hua's biological father. Yi Shan's physique was well proportioned. He wasn't very muscular, nor was he very skinny. His facial features were excellent, but they were currently covered by a layer of anger. Standing behind Yi Shan was the 3rd brother, Yi Qin. The Yi family guard stood at the door as if waiting to arrest someone. Yi Shan glanced at Lu Jing, then shifted his gaze to Yi Juetian. Speak. Where is Chen Yuqing? Yi Juetian's heart sank. As expected, it was because of his sister-in-law. I reckon that the higher-ups are pressuring me. Father, how would I know about Chen Yuqing's matter? Yi Juetian slightly lowered his head and replied. At this crucial moment, I definitely cannot reveal any information. Right at this moment, Yi Qin said solemnly, 6th brother. This matter concerns our entire Yi family. 3rd brother, I really don't know. I haven't contacted Chen Yuqing for a very long time already. Yi Juetian said gravely. His tone was filled with sincerity, and it didn't seem like he was lying. Yi Juetian. Father will give you one last chance. Yi Shan shouted out coldly. Yi Juetian didn't have the slightest bit of fear. Towards this biological father of his, Yi Juetian's impression of him was becoming worse and worse. Father, I don't know. Very good. Yi Shan looked towards Lu Jing, then directly walked over. Upon seeing this, Yi Juetian immediately stopped him. Father, what are you trying to do? Scram. Yi Shan directly angrily tossed his son to the side. Yi Qin casually took out a purple rope and tied Yi Juetian up. Yi Shan walked in front of Lu Jing and looked at the woman in front of him. A trace of struggle flashed past his eyes, which was soon replaced by determination. Yi Shan opened the brocade box on the small table, and within it, there were 2 bottles of spiritual spring. Yi Shan directly took them away. Lu Jing just looked at her husband's actions. She didn't stop him, nor did she say anything. Father. You can't do this, that's mother's life extension spring water. Yi Juetian, who was tied up, roared angrily. I really didn't expect father to be so heartless to this extent. It's fine if you don't give mother the spiritual spring water, but you actually took away mother's spiritual spring water. Now that he had taken away his mother's spirit spring water, he was cutting off his mother's path to survival. Yi Shan walked towards the door and said gravely, Yi Juetian, you better bring Chen Yuqing back for me. After he finished speaking, Yi Shan left the courtyard. Yi Chen took a look inside the house, then casually waved his hand, and the purple rope that was tying Yi Juetian landed in Yi Chen's hands. Yi Shan. You are not human. Pa. Just as Yi Juetian finished shouting, he was sent flying and landed outside the courtyard. Little Tian. Lu Jing shouted in pain. However, Yi Shan's voice rang out in the air, if you are disrespectful again, don't blame father for punishing you. Yi Juetian wiped off the blood at the corner of his mouth, he clenched his fists tightly, but there was nothing he could do. Little Tian. Lu Jing ran over with small steps, with a look of concern in her eyes, she gently wiped off the blood at the corner of her son's mouth. Mother. Your son is useless. Yi Juetian cried, he hated himself for being useless. He could only watch as his father took away his mother's life-saving medicine, yet he was powerless to do anything. Lu Jing hugged Yi Juetian lightly, Little Tian, this is not your fault, this is not your fault, this is not anyone's fault either. Mother, are you still speaking up for father? He is trying to force you to death. Little Tian, your father has done enough, mother is just a burden, mother also does not wish for you to hate father, do you understand? But mother. Alright little Tian, don't call your father by his name in the future. Lu Jing said seriously, this Yi clan's family rules were still very strict. What else could Yi Juetian do? I can only nod my head. Yi Shan, who was walking far away, held 2 bottles of spirit spring water in his hands. His expression was a little strange, as if he was forcefully enduring the pain in his heart. Father, little Tian will understand in the future. Yi Chen stood behind and said softly. Yi Shan stopped in his tracks. His gaze turned deep as he continued walking forward. As the head of the Yi clan, Yi Shan had a lot of helplessness. The entire Yi clan was in his hands, many of the decisions were not up to him. Yi Shan walked into the front hall, he cupped his hands towards a man in the hall and shouted, Ninth Prince. Chapter 974. Of course this man was Huang Yun. He turned around and asked in a deep voice, Patriarch Yi, is there any news of Yuqing? Don't worry, Ninth Prince. Yi Shan did not say anything and only told Huang Yun not to worry. Huang Yun did not pursue the matter. He understood what Yi Shan meant and nodded, bring Yuqing back, and your Yi clan will receive many benefits. Thank you, Ninth Prince. Yi Shan and Yi Chen cupped their hands. Huang Yun heaved a sigh of relief and walked out of the hall. Farewell, Ninth Prince. After sending Huang Yun off, Yi Shan sat at the side with a sullen expression. Yi Chen poured a cup of tea. Father, will old Sixth know where Chen Yuqing is? Yi Shan held the teacup as steam swirled around it. Yi Shan did not drink and said indifferently, Old Sixth must know. Should we send someone to follow Old Sixth? Yi Chen asked softly. Yi Shan shook his head, I only want the results, not the process. Yi Chen understood, but he still asked softly, Father, Chen Yuqing has never been like this before. Now that she suddenly disappeared, could something have happened? Or does she have some clues about Big Brother? Yi Chen added. Crack. The teacup in Yi Shan's hand instantly shattered, and hot tea splashed onto his fingers. However, this heat was nothing to Yi Shan. There was no joy or disgust in Yi Shan's eyes. Logically speaking, he should be happy. Old Third, don't be like your big brother. Do you understand? Yi Shan reprimanded sternly. Yi Chen replied respectfully, Father, I understand. Your brother has brought this upon himself. Yi Shan said in a deep voice, then he stood up and left. Yi Chen bowed slightly and sent his father off. After his father left, Yi Chen frowned slightly. Big Brother was too outstanding, so outstanding that even his brothers were jealous, not to mention others. Furthermore, Big Brother was very stubborn and not tactful enough, offending countless people. He even dared to offend the emperor for the sake of commoners. His father was very straightforward. Don't learn from Big Brother. If Big Brother had been more low profile back then, he would not have ended up like this. Actually, in the eyes of those with power, they could guess that the Yi clan's first young master had obstructed many people's interests, so they could only eliminate him. No matter how outstanding a person was, if they did not know how to conduct themselves, they would definitely invite a fatal disaster. Big Brother was a classic example. In fact, in his father's eyes, the Yi family had fallen to such a state because of his eldest brother. On the other side, Yi Juetian naturally went to find Chen Yuqing. If he didn't find Chen Yuqing, his mother's life would be in danger. Lu Jing didn't stop Yi Juetian. She hoped that Xiao Tian would be able to bring Yi Hua back and let her take a look at Yi Hua while she was still alive. That was enough. To Lu Jing, her satisfaction was to see her son. That was all. Yi Juetian secretly found Mute in the boundary room and used the same method to come to the Kangluo continent. In an instant, he appeared at the entrance of Voidless Empire. Yi Juetian immediately rushed towards the imperial palace with an anxious look on his face. Even his eyes were bloodshot right now. However, Yi Juetian discovered that a group of yellow-armored warriors were blocking his way. Ha! The yellow-armored warrior instantly pulled out the blade at his waist and pointed it at Yi Juetian. How could Yi Juetian still care about anything else right now? 2 pitch-black broadswords appeared in his hands. Those who block me shall die. The enraged Yi Juetian immediately raised his blade and rushed forward. Yi Juetian had the strength of a supreme after all, and the yellow-armored warrior was not a match for him at all. Yi Juetian's attack instantly created an opening in his body. Looking at the white figure not far away, Yi Juetian knew that it was his sister-in-law. But why was sister-in-law standing here? Yi Juetian directly flew towards Chen Yuqing. However, at this moment, the yellow-armored warrior seemed to have given up on resisting and continued to lock him down. Within the imperial palace, Dongfang Yue was standing beside Yi Hua, and Zhu Tian was squatting on Dongfang Yue's shoulder. Yi Hua was holding onto a pair of scissors and was trimming a potted plant, while Dongfang Yuan was standing at the back and teaching Yi Hua softly. Only by doing so would Yi Hua feel a bit more comfortable. Your Honor, your little brother is coming over. Very quickly, Wei Chang's reminder appeared in Yi Hua's mind. With a kacha sound, Yi Hua directly cut the flower. Dongfang Yuan, who was standing behind him, hurriedly lowered her head and took a step back. Yi Hua didn't say anything and continued trimming. However, this time he seemed to be absent-minded. At the entrance of the palace, Chen Yuqing turned her head around and looked towards Yi Juetian, then asked confusedly, "Little Tian, why did you come over?" "Sister-in-law Yu." Yi Juetian walked over to Chen Yuqing's side. Looking at the blood on Chen Yuqing's clothes, Yi Juetian's brows tightly wrinkled. Chen Yuqing laughed lightly. "I'm fine, I gave Yi Hua a beating just now and right now he is hiding inside and doesn't dare to see me." Yi Juetian naturally knew that Chen Yuqing was just ting. "My sister-in-law is just too kind to the point that I can't bear to hurt her. Trust me, Yi Hua will come to a compromise very soon." Chen Yuqing squeezed out a trace of a smile and said, "Sister-in-law, I'm afraid that we don't have the time to wait anymore." "What's the matter?" "Imperial Cloud has already discovered that you have gone missing, and right now the entire spiritual city is on high alert. Furthermore," upon hearing that, Chen Yuqing's expression changed greatly. "Furthermore, what happened?" "Father took away Mother's spirit spring and told me to bring you back, if not, Mother?" Speaking up to hear, Yi Juetian tightly clenched his fists. How can there be such a scoundrel husband in this world? He is simply inhumane. Chen Yuqing also knew how serious this matter was. It is definitely Imperial Cloud who is behind this matter. Could it be that this person has gone mad? To actually use such a despicable method. I have indeed underestimated Imperial Cloud in the past. However, the truth was not something that Imperial Cloud requested. He only requested Yishan to bring Chen Yuqing back. Chen Yuqing looked at the Imperial Palace. If I were to go back this time, I would most likely not be able to come out, let alone see Yi Hua. Imperial Cloud would definitely be impatient to complete the marriage with me, and if I don't agree to it, Yi Hua's mother would be in danger. However, do I really have to leave right now? I still haven't seen Yi Hua yet, I can't bear to leave. Sister-in-law. Big brother has already changed, he has changed to the point that we don't even recognize him anymore. Yi Juetian was very disappointed with his big brother. In the past, he felt that his big brother would be able to support the family, but right now, his big brother is actually hiding in the Imperial Palace and not coming out. No, your big brother didn't change. Chen Yuqing was firm in her belief. If Yi Hua had changed, I would have already died that night. In the end, it was still him who didn't allow it. In the past, he had already said that if I were to die, he wouldn't allow it. Yi Juetian suddenly roared out, "No. Big brother has changed." In the past, if Big Brother knew that Mother was being wronged no matter where he was, he would still rush back. However, right now he only knows how to hide in the imperial palace and not dare to face reality. Hearing Yi Juetian's roar, Chen Yuqing hurriedly said, "Little Tian, you cannot be so rude. No matter what, Yi Hua is still your big brother." Chapter 975. No. He's not my big brother anymore. I, Yi Juetian, don't have such a heartless big brother. His mother was on the brink of death, but he didn't care. Yi Hua. You're a coward, a coward. Yi Juetian roared in anger. When he thought of his mother's helpless appearance, his heart ached. Right now, the only one who could help his mother was his big brother. But big brother did not come out. He would rather hide in the palace and be a coward. A clear and melodious sound rang out from Yi Juetian's face. The sound wasn't very heavy, but it was very loud. Yi Juetian covered his face in disbelief. Even Chen Yuqing, who was standing to the side, was amazed. Yi Hua actually hit his younger brother? He had been slapped twice in one day, once by his father and once by his big brother. Yi Juetian also became impulsive. Yi Hua, if you have the ability, come and slap me in front of me. What kind of man are you to hide behind? Yi Juetian suffered another slap to his face. However, Yi Hua's voice rang out in the air. It's not up to you to make irresponsible remarks when I do things. This voice. How could Chen Yuqing possibly forget that this is Yi Hua's voice? Yi Hua is finally willing to talk. However, Yi Hua's words enraged Yi Juetian once again. You're a heartless fellow. Yi Juetian suffered another slap to his face. After being lectured by his big brother once again, Yi Juetian suddenly started laughing loudly as if he had gone mad. Big brother. Come on, beat me to death if you can. You ungrateful man. To think that my mother and sister-in-law prayed for you every day, only to receive such heartless treatment from you. I feel indignant for them. After he finished speaking, Yi Juetian waited for the slap to come, but it never came. Why aren't you fighting? Keep fighting. Let me tell you, Yi Hua, you owe mother too much. You won't be able to pay me back in this lifetime. Yi Hua snorted coldly. In this world there is nothing that I, the Supreme Overlord, cannot afford to pay back. That's good. Pay me back the rent. Can you afford it? Rent? When did I ever owe rent? You lived in mother's belly for 10 months. Isn't that considered rent? If you have the ability, then return it. Yi Juetian roared. The voice in the air fell silent. Little Tian, enough, don't say any more. Chen Yuqing said in a low voice. Sister-in-law, do you think I want to say it? This was an unfilial son. You marrying Huang Yun is better than marrying him. Chen Yuqing's face turned cold. That's enough, little Tian. Hearing his sister-in-law's angry shout, Yi Juetian calmed down quite a bit. As for the sound in the air, it did not ring out anymore. Chen Yuqing and Yi Juetian just stood there without saying anything. As the sky gradually darkened, Chen Yuqing heaved a sigh of relief as if she had made a decision. Yi Hua, I have to go, your mother is still waiting for me to go back and save her. Chen Yuqing felt helpless. Instead of waiting here, she might as well do something more practical. Yi Juetian nodded and did not say anything. Going back now was the best outcome. Waiting here was simply a waste of time. However, after waiting for a long time, Yi Hua still didn't give her any instructions. Chen Yuqing was very disappointed. She sighed lightly, and the two of them directly soared into the sky and disappeared. Right now, Yi Hua was sitting in the children's palace. He could sense that Chen Yuqing and Yi Juetian had left. Yi Juetian's words were still lingering in Yi Hua's mind. This kind of rent, I am indeed unable to afford it. Also, Chen Yuqing is going to marry some Huang Yun? What kind of situation is this? At this moment, light footsteps rang out. The person who came was precisely Qingye. Qingye could be seen sitting beside Yi Hua. Qingye did not say anything and just quietly accompanied Yi Hua. After a long time, Qingye said, I wonder how the children are doing right now. I really miss them. Yi Hua looked at the training platform outside of the palace. In the past, he would often see God Yi and Yi Lu exchanging their experiences in martial arts. Meanwhile, Ali and Yenna would always accompany him and chat with him, so how could they not miss their children? That is impossible, after all, their children are my blood. They should be doing well. Yi Hua said faintly. Qingye stretched out her hand and held onto Yi Hua's hand, then said attentively, Yi Hua, we are both parents to me, you and the children are my everything, I hope that the two of you are doing well. Hearing this, Yi Hua did not say anything. Yi Hua, being a mother is really not easy. You should still remember when Yen was born. I almost died, but I still wanted to give birth to Yen. You should understand what I mean, right? Qingya wanted to tell Yi Hua that for the sake of her child, a mother is willing to do anything. Yi Hua still did not utter a word. Qingya didn't want to continue persuading Yi Hua. After patting on the back of Yi Hua's hand, Qingya turned around and left. Yi Hua had already said all that he needed to say. Whether or not it would be of any use, it would depend on Yi Hua himself. After Qingya walked out of the palace, Donghuang Baiji, who was waiting outside, asked curiously, "How was it?" "I don't know. Why is this Yi Hua so stubborn? I have to give it to him," Donghuang Baiji said in a low voice. However, just as the two of them were ridiculing Yi Hua for being stubborn, they suddenly sensed an aura flying towards the sky. Qingya and Donghuang Baiji raised their heads and looked towards the night sky, and a gratified smile appeared on the corner of their mouths. "This is our man." This was a supreme being. Qingya and Donghuang Baiji were not the only ones who saw it. All of Yi Hua's subordinates sensed it as well. All of them ran to the entrance of the palace and looked at the night sky. Afterward, they bowed down and shouted out, "His honor is mighty." His honor finally thought the same way. All of the subordinates were finally at ease. This is our boss. Not afraid of anything. Not only the subordinates, all of Wushu Empire soldiers bowed down and shouted out, "Long live our emperor." The commoners didn't know what was going on, but they still bowed down and shouted out, "Long live our emperor." In the end, Yi Hua still chose to face the past. This time, Yi Hua didn't bring a single person with him to God's realm. Yi Hua was completely relaxed. He was going to scout out the path and make preparations for the future. God's realm, 1,000 residences. Chen Yuqing had already returned, and she had even changed into a set of clean clothes. As for Yi Juetian, he had already returned and directly took the spirit spring from his father's hands. Because he had already brought Chen Yuqing back. "Yuqing, where have you been these few days? Your father has been worried to death about you. Look at the 9th prince, he has also been working hard for you." Chen Yuqing's father, Chen Yi, stood at the side and said earnestly. Huang Yun sat in front of Chen Yuqing, and his expression had eased up by quite a bit. In the end, it was still Yi Juetian who found out where Chen Yuqing was. Chen Yuqing said in a low voice, "I have made father and the 9th prince worried. Yuqing has been walking around Minghuang Mountain these few days." After hearing that, Huang Yun slightly wrinkled his brows. With a smile on his face, Chen Yi said, "Yuqing, if you are going to Minghuang Mountain, you have to call the 9th prince as well. Father, Yuqing wants to be alone for a while." Chapter 976. Hearing that her daughter was still so stubborn, Chen Yi turned around and looked at Huang Yun, feeling a bit embarrassed. Huang Yun was a bit angry. "That day, I invited you to Minghuang Mountain, but you didn't go, and I went alone. Could it be that you don't want to be with me that much?" "Uncle Chen, actually Yuqing and I have discussed it. We plan to get married soon and father has agreed," Huang Yun said. He couldn't wait any longer, he felt like he was going to lose her. Hearing Huang Yun's words, Chen Yi was delighted. This was exactly what she wanted. Her daughter and Yi family's Yi Hua were both in name only. No. They didn't even have a name. After all, they left without completing the wedding. Huang Yun's talent was not any weaker than Yi Hua's, and it was even stronger. The main point was that he was from the royal family, and he might even become the emperor in the future. Her daughter would become the noblest woman in the god's realm, and she was her father. Chen family would be immortal. "That's great, this is Yuqing's fortune," Chen Yi said happily, then looked at her daughter. Chen Yuqing knew that this would happen. Her disappearance made Huang Yun realize that if he didn't keep her by his side, it might happen a second or third time. "If I don't agree, what will happen?" "Offending the royal family would definitely happen, but the main point is who will give me the divine spring. If the royal family doesn't give me the divine spring, wouldn't Yi Hua's mother be waiting for death? What if I agree? Chen family will become the #1 family in Lingdu, Yi Hua's mother will continue to live. My happiness? Compared to Yi Hua's mother, it's nothing. Being able to help Yi Hua with something is also a type of happiness." "Yuqing? Yuqing?" Chen Yi called out softly. She was also signaling him with her eyes. At this critical juncture, he should not throw a tantrum. "For the sake of our family, you must marry." Chen Yuqing knew what her father meant. She looked at Huang Yun and thought of Yi Hua. If Yi Hua came back with her, she would be able to reject him, but Yi Hua didn't come back. So all her assumptions were useless. "Give me a few more days to consider," Chen Yuqing said softly, still holding a bit of hope. Chen Yi froze for a moment, then looked at Huang Yun and smiled. "This girl is a bit embarrassed, 9th prince, please forgive her." "Is 3 days enough?" Huang Yun ignored Chen Yi and asked Chen Yuqing. All right. Chen Yuqing agreed to Yi Hua's words. If Yi Hua doesn't come within these 3 days, then I won't be able to do anything about it. In this spirit capital, his strength was still too weak. He could not withstand the massive royal family. When Huang Yun heard this, he was quite satisfied. He stood up and said, Yuqing, rest early. I'll come back in 3 days for your reply. Chen Yuqing nodded. Seeing her daughter nod, Chen Yi was relieved. Ninth Prince, let me see you off. As Chen Yuqing watched Huang Yun leave, she heaved a sigh of relief and stood up to return to her room. Yuqing, wait, Chen Yi shouted as she ran over after sending off the royal cloud. Father, is there anything else? Chen Yuqing leaned forward and asked. Chen Yi sighed. Yuqing, I know that you don't like Huang Yun, but right now the opportunity is right in front of our Chen family. In the past, when you didn't want to marry into the royal family, Father allowed you, and when you wanted to marry Yi Hua, Father also allowed you. But this time, can you listen to Father? Yi Hua is already in the past, you should look forward and accept a new relationship. Hearing her father's words, Chen Yuqing knew that her father doted on her. Yuqing understands. This is how father's good daughter should be. Go and rest well, then prepare to become a bride. Chen Yi was very happy. Hearing her daughter's tone, she more or less knew that there was a chance. Seems like going out this time is pretty good. It seems like she has thought through a lot of things. I'm just a little curious, just where did my daughter go? Why did she suddenly think things through? A Yi family. Yi Juetian sat in his mother's room and was currently dripping a drop of spirit spring water. He seemed to be very careful. After all, an extra drop would be a waste. However, Li Jing didn't put it in her heart at all. Little Tian, is Yi Hua still not willing to come back? Yi Juetian pursed his lips, then dripped a drop of green spirit spring water into a bowl of clear water. The entire bowl of clear water instantly turned into a green liquid that emitted a strange fragrance. The members of the royal family weren't able to enjoy this spirit spring water every day, but Li Jing was getting a drop of it every day, and it had been the same for thousands of years. It was simply even more extravagant than the royal family, but it couldn't be helped. This was a life-saving medicine. Mother, big brother hasn't thought things through. In order to not let his mother be sad, Yi Juetian still tactfully said. How could Li Jing not be able to tell that Yi Hua isn't willing to come back this time? Seems like Yi Hua is determined not to come back. How about I go down and take a look at Yi Hua? Li Jing said lightly. Mother, your body isn't able to withstand the teleportation at all. Yi Juetian said gravely with a trace of blame. Do you really want to see Big Brother that much? But Big Brother doesn't even put you in his heart at all. Li Jing naturally knew, and she let out a deep breath. Mother, drink the medicine first. Yi Juetian said lightly. Li Jing nodded her head, then narrowed her eyes and drank the bowl of medicine. After drinking the bowl of medicine, Li Jing's entire complexion seemed to have become brand new. However, this kind of effect could only last for a day. Every time Li Jing stopped, it would cause harm. Mother, you rest well, I will take care of Big Brother. All right, little Tian, you rest early too. Yi Juetian cupped his hands, then bid farewell to his mother and casually closed the door. After walking out of his mother's courtyard, Yi Juetian stopped his footsteps. What are you two doing? Yi Juetian asked gravely. 2 figures could be seen walking out from the darkness. Number 6, third brother invites you over. The one who spoke was number 5, Yi Zhe, and the one who was standing at the side with a smile was number 4, Yi Liangkai. Number 4, Yi Liangkai and number 5, Yi Zhe had the same mother. And number 3, Yi Qin and number 2, Yi Yuanqing had the same mother. However, number 2, Yi Yuanqing was a woman. Yi Shan only had these 3 wives, yet he gave birth to 5 handsome men, causing others to be envious of him. After all, the gods' realm valued men more than women, with the exception of women who were good-looking. It is already so late, why is third brother looking for me? Yi Juetian asked cautiously. Number 6, you will know once you go over. Yi Liangkai said faintly, a smile still on his face. However, those who were familiar with him all knew that this smile seemed to be fixed. No matter what he said, that smile would always be squinted into a slit, and the corners of his mouth would always be curved upwards. Yi Juetian didn't feel very good, but if number 5 and number 4 came together, he wouldn't be a match for them. All right. Yi Juetian chose to be wise and not fight with them. Even if he fought with them, he wouldn't be a match for them. Chapter 977. The 3 brothers directly walked out of the Yi clan. Yi Juetian became even more curious. Where exactly were they going? He had even left Spirit Capital. Old Six, don't worry. We're brothers. I won't go so far as to kill you, Yi Liangkai said calmly. Under the moonlight, the smile on his face looked very ghostly. Soon, the three brothers arrived at a dilapidated house. A bonfire was lit inside, outlining two shadows. It seemed that there was someone else besides the third brother. Yi Juetian had a grave expression on his face as he walked into the dilapidated house. Of course he recognized Yi Chen's back. This was another person. He didn't expect it to be the ninth prince. Imperial Cloud. Why was he with third brother? Ninth prince, third brother, sixth brother is here. Yizha cupped his hands and said solemnly. Then he and Yi Liangkai stood at the door. Yi Juetian's face darkened as he glanced behind him. It was obvious that he was preventing him from running away. Ninth prince, third brother, what's the matter so late at night? Yi Juetian cupped his hands and asked. No matter what, these two people were of high seniority. He still had to put on an act. Huang Yun and Yi Chen turned around. Huang Yun didn't say anything, but Yi Chen asked in a deep voice, Sixth brother, where did you find Chen Yuqing's disappearance? Minghuang Mountain. Yi Juetian had already gotten a confession from Chen Yuqing. Minghuang Mountain was a pretty good excuse. Huang Yun's expression changed. Yi Chen seemed to have sensed it. He asked again, Sixth brother. The ninth prince was here. Don't lie. Third brother, I really didn't lie. I found Chen Yuqing in Minghuang Mountain. Of course, Yi Juetian had to stick to his story. He couldn't let it slip. Yi Chen's expression turned cold. He shouted, Sixth brother. You're still not being honest. The ninth prince's men had already searched the entire Phoenix Cry Mountain. There's no sign of Chen Yuqing. Yi Chen was right. Huang Yun knew that Chen Yuqing liked to go to Minghuang Mountain. He also knew why. That was because of the man in the past. Therefore they didn't let Minghuang Mountain off this time. However, they couldn't find Chen Yuqing at all. He didn't want to ask, but he felt that Chen Yuqing had changed a lot since she came back. She even told such a lie to deceive him. Then where did he go? Huang Yun was very curious. Where did he go? However, Yi Juetian definitely knew about this. It seemed like this place was very well hidden. After hearing this, Yi Juetian's expression didn't change. He continued to say, Ninth prince, Chen Yuqing was indeed found by me on Minghuang Mountain. Yi Chen was puzzled. Why are you not telling the truth? Don't you know that our Yi clan is relying on the ninth prince? Why must he be so stubborn? I've already said that someone has searched everywhere. Huang Yun asked in a low voice, Yi Juetian, Chen Yuqing is my fiancée. I want to know where she has been these few days. You should be able to understand, right? It was a warning. Of course, Yi Chen and the others could tell as well. Sixth brother. Answer the ninth prince's question honestly. Yi Chen also warned. Don't lie anymore. This is not a good thing for either of us. With just a word from the ninth prince, we can take on important positions and even father can be reinstated. Although Yi Hua had beaten up Yi Juetian, in Yi Juetian's heart, Big Brother was still Big Brother, and it was normal for Big Brother to teach him a lesson. Besides, Big Brother also lost his memory. Their brotherhood would not change. Third brother, I didn't lie. Yi Juetian was still certain. However, in Huang Yun's heart, the more Yi Juetian said this, the more suspicion he had in his heart. Because if Yi Juetian wasn't willing to say it, then it was definitely because he couldn't say it. Yi Chen, your little brother, come and make him speak. Huang Yun said faintly. I must find out today. Where did Chen Yuqing go? She even had to come up with a lie. Can Yi Chen reject? He understood that he couldn't reject. Sixth brother, I will give you one last chance, speak. Yi Chen questioned in a low voice, and that purple rope appeared in his hand once more. Seems like an Asian binding is going to be used. Yi Juetian was a man with backbone. Big Brother's tracks definitely cannot be exposed, if not Big Brother will definitely be in danger. It is at Minghuang Mountain. Yizha could be seen swinging his hand, and the purple rope tied Yi Juetian up. As expected of an Asian binding, Yi Juetian was tied up tightly. Yi Juetian didn't resist because he couldn't resist at all. He didn't have any chance of winning. Third brother, aren't you afraid of the family's law by doing this? Yi Juetian questioned. Brothers killing each other was a great taboo. Yi Chen said faintly, if I said that this was tacitly agreed by father, would you believe me? I believe you, of course I believe you. Yi Juetian smiled, but this smile was a little desolate. Right now, the Yi family seemed to be controlled by this Huang Yun. Whatever he wanted the Yi family to do, the Yi family would do. Yi Chen looked at his two little brothers. Yi Liangkai and Yizha walked over, and a red whip condensed in their hands. This was simply an Asian binding and whip combination. However, this wasn't a normal whip. After all, the toughness of a supreme being's body was incomparable. This was a whip that could whip souls, and it was a little similar to Qingye's weapon. The only difference was that this whip was a weaker version. Even if it wasn't good to use, it could still make Yi Juetian suffer. Yi Juetian felt grief in his heart. For an outsider, he actually beat his brother. The Yi family was just like this, simply a trash family. If it wasn't for his mother, he would have left home long ago. He truly didn't want to stay here for even a second longer. Yi Juetian, speak and you won't need to be whipped. Yi Zhi shouted out. Of course he didn't want to whip Yi Juetian, but he had no choice as this concerned Yi family's future. Yi Juetian said faintly, I already told you I found it at Minghuang Mountain. Pa. The whip that was emitting a red radiance fiercely lashed onto Yi Juetian's back, and pa-pa sounds rang out. After being lashed like this, Yi Juetian felt that he couldn't even stand stably anymore. Pa. Yi Liangkai also lashed out, and this caused Yi Juetian's eyes to roll back. He felt that his soul was about to shatter. Yi Chen asked gravely, Old Six, why do you have to be so stubborn? What's wrong with speaking? If you have the ability, then kill me. Don't talk so much. Yi Juetian shouted out. You bunch of naive people, am I Yi Juetian the kind of person who would betray my brothers? Huang Yun took in a deep breath. Yi Juetian, why are you doing this? Those who go against me, Huang Yun, will not have a good ending. Those who go against me, Yi Juetian, will not have a good ending either. Huang Yun's gaze turned cold. Pa. Yi Zhi and Yi Liangkai, who were standing behind Yi Juetian, started lashing crazily at Yi Juetian. However, their brows were tightly locked, and they would occasionally look towards Yi Chen. They seemed to be asking if this should be enough, right? However, at this moment, Yi Juetian had already fallen onto the ground, and cold sweat could be seen on his forehead. His complexion was also exceptionally pale, and it was clear that his soul had suffered serious injuries. End of this chapter. Chapter 978. But even so, Yi Juetian still didn't say anything. This is like Big Brother torturing me thousands of times. I feel like my first love for Big Brother. Enough. Yi Chen said sullenly. If they continued fighting, something bad would happen. They could not continue fighting. Yi Zhi and Yi Liangkai heaved a sigh of relief. They kept their red whips and stood to the side. Yi Chen cupped his hands towards Huang Yun and said, Ninth Prince, it seems like there is some misunderstanding. Misunderstanding? Huang Yun asked indifferently, his eyes locked onto Yi Chen. Yi Chen lowered his head slightly and didn't dare to touch him. He couldn't afford to offend Huang Yun. Huang Yun looked at Yi Juetian, who was lying on the ground, and asked again, Where has my fiancée been these few days? What has she been doing? At Minghuang Mountain. Yi Juetian said softly. Huang Yun's aura instantly changed. His fiancée had disappeared for 3 days. This made him very unhappy. She even lied to him that she was at Minghuang Mountain. This was like adding oil to the fire. It was like he had been cuckolded. He liked Chen Yuqing so much, but what about her? She didn't even tell him what she was doing. She even used such a method to lie. Huang Yun was a rational person, but he couldn't do anything about Chen Yuqing. Who knew who she was fooling around with these few days? A sword condensed in Huang Yun's hand. This was Huang Yun's sword, a primordial divine artifact, Sun Moon divine aura. As Huang Yun's sword, it was definitely not ordinary. It wasn't any weaker than the ones that Yi Hua had. The only difference was the number. Yi Hua had many, but Huang Yun only had one. Sun Moon divine aura was a little weird. On the sword, one side gave off a sun-like light while the other side was dimmer. This was probably the meaning of the sun and moon. However, this Sun-Moon divine aura felt like it was breathing. It was like a primordial divine artifact that had a life of its own. However, when this sword was taken out, Yi Chen and the others felt pressured. Fear appeared in their eyes. Ninth Prince, let's persuade him again. Yi Chen quickly said. This ninth prince obviously wanted to kill old sixth. How could he do that? Teaching him a lesson was one thing, but killing him was another. If you guys can't do it, I'll do it. Huang Yun said coldly. At this moment, it was as if he had turned into a devil, showing no mercy at all. Yi Juetian, who was lying on the ground, slightly raised the corner of his mouth. Go ahead and kill me. You will definitely regret it. Yi Chen's face sank. What kind of situation is this? Why is he still provoking the ninth prince like this? Do you not want to live anymore? Bang. Yi Chen kicked the ninth prince hard. Then he performed a cupped fist salute and said, Ninth prince, please calm down. I'm afraid I won't be able to rest today. Huang Yun was indeed very angry and could no longer hide this anger. His killing intent had already surged. Yi Chen looked at his two younger brothers. Yi Liangkai and Yi Zhe did not know what to do either. That would offend Huang Yun. Offending Imperial Cloud, wasn't that the same as offending the entire Imperial family? Then what about the Yi family? However, at this moment the few people in the room smelled a strange smell and frowned. What is this smell? Those who knew would definitely understand. It was the smell of cigarettes. Yi Juetian, who was lying on the ground, also smelled it. He seemed to have smelled it that day as well. Could it be Big Brother? Zizizi, the shabby door slowly opened and creaking sounds rang out. The few people in the room looked towards the outside of the room, and their brows tightly knitted together. There was a black figure outside. There was also a spark that was emitting smoke, and the smell was coming out from the spark. The black figure outside seemed to have inhaled a mouthful of smoke, and an even bigger cloud of smoke floated into the room. Secondhand smoke was really harmful. At the very least, Yi Zhe coughed. Who are you? Don't show off here. Yi Chen shouted out. Huang Yun locked onto this black figure tightly, and he actually didn't notice that someone was approaching them just now. This could only mean one thing: this person's strength. I'm afraid that this person's strength is above mine. Just who is this person? You all are finished. Yi Juetian, who was lying on the ground weakly, suddenly laughed. Everyone was very confused about Yi Juetian's words. The human figure gradually walked into the room. Yi Chen, Yi Liangkai, and Yi Zhe looked at the human figure that walked into the room, and their pupils gradually narrowed. Astonishment could be seen on their faces, and there was even a type of even deeper fear. Big brother? Yi Chen cried out involuntarily. He was astonished to the point that his words were even stuttering. Yi Zhe and Yi Liangkai were the same as well, but they were astonished to the point that they even had trouble speaking. From the shape of their mouths, it seemed like they wanted to shout out. However, they were unable to shout out. How could this man in front of them possibly appear again? This is definitely not possible. When Huang Yun, who was at the side, heard Yi Chen calling out Big Brother, he immediately knew who this person was. I didn't expect that this person was the genius from 1,000 years ago. Yi family's Yi Hua. Didn't he die already? Why did he appear here again? Could it be the reason why Chen Yuqing disappeared for these few days was to go and meet him? From the looks of it, that is most likely the case. Damn it. Why didn't this man die? Wasn't he supposed to be dead? Yi Chen and the others rubbed their eyes. Even now, they still didn't dare to believe what was happening in front of them. Is this an illusion? Big Brother? Yi Juetian shouted out weakly. Yi Hua smoked his cigarette, then flicked away the cigarette ash and said faintly, Yi Juetian, you are really useless. Yi Juetian laughed bitterly. I am indeed useless. Big Brother is right. Yi Chen felt that this strange Big Brother of his seems to have changed. Although his expression was still cold, his movements were very frivolous and carried a bit of a mischievous aura. However, is this person really Big Brother or not? Yi Hua swept his gaze across the four people in front of him, and when he saw Huang Yun, his gaze stopped. Huang Yun also looked at Yi Hua. The two geniuses from 1,000 years ago and 1,000 years later started looking at each other. Yi Chen stood at the side and did not speak. It was clear that he had not digested this fact yet. Yi Zhe and Yi Liangkai were the same as well. Suddenly, a king's might exploded out from Huang Yun's body, and the entire tattered house was instantly blown flat. Following that, the bonfire on the ground was also blown away. Yi Hua silently looked at Huang Yun. He wasn't interested in this little guy, but towards Yi Juetian, who was on the ground, he was interested in this little guy. Who hit you? Yi Hua asked faintly. Damn it, it feels great to have Big Brother in charge. You all have angered Big Brother, go and eat shit. Big Brother, it was them. Yi Hua asked faintly, why didn't you retaliate? I couldn't win against them. So weak. Yi Juetian was very speechless. Big Brother, don't attack me anymore, quickly help my little brother vent his anger. You all bullied my little brother, looks like I have to properly settle the scores for you all. Yi Hua's tone became gloomy, and his expression started to become unhappy. It is fine for this little brother of his to be taught a lesson by me, his own big brother, but as for the others, who gave you all the guts to do so? Oh my god. Yi Chen and the other two still hadn't come back to their senses. Right now they really couldn't understand what was going on. End of this chapter. Chapter 979. A long whip suddenly condensed in Yi Hua's hand, and the whip was emitting black smoke. With just a glance, one could tell that Yi Hua's products were not ordinary goods. This whip was different from the one he had just used. It was thicker, longer, and black. Just like a snake, it seemed to have scales. "Big brother, what are you doing?" Yi Chen finally recovered his wits. While smoking the cigarette, Yi Hua said, "Can't you see it?" The black whip in Yi Hua's hand didn't even need to be swung. It directly went straight towards Yi Chen, lashing towards Yi Chen. Bang! Caught off guard, Yi Chen was instantly knocked into the air. He did not know where he flew to. This would definitely feel good. Yi Hua looked towards Yi Zhi and Yi Liangkai, who were at the side. In Yi Zhi's eyes, his older brother would never do something like this. The long black whip swept forward with a vicious aura. Bang! Yi Zhi and Yi Liangkai did not resist at all and were both sent flying. "Are you satisfied?" Yi Hua asked faintly. Yi Juetian endured the pain and stood up. "Big brother, you're the best." Yi Hua took a fierce look at Yi Juetian, and the latter immediately hid behind Yi Hua's back. Yi Hua felt that this was just like how it was in the past. When I create trouble outside, my big brother would come and clean up after me, and after that, my big brother would give me a good beating. Yi family's young master Yi Hua. Seeing you today, I have a whole new level of respect for you. Huang Yun said solemnly. I heard from people in the past that back then, Yi Hua would definitely not hit his own brothers. However, today, the moment he attacked, he sent 3 people flying. Yi Hua flicked away the cigarette but that was in his hand, and the slight sparks drew an arc in the air, appearing very bright in the dark night. Who do you think you are, to dare to speak in front of me? Yi Hua said indifferently. Yi Juetian, who was standing behind Yi Hua, was startled. *CK. Big brother is so awesome. He was even more awesome than he was in the past. He directly went up to them. Huang Yun clenched the Sun-Moon Divine Aura in his hand tightly, and the originally unstable aura gradually retracted. If they were to fight now, it would definitely attract attention. Before they understood the situation, they couldn't be so rash. Huang Yun was a very scheming and steady person. Aside from being a little impulsive earlier, he was much calmer now. This matter had to be considered at length. Yi Hua is just a past tense. He's nothing now. As the 9th Prince of Spirit Capital, he had his pride. He had already been scolded, so how could he escape? That was impossible. Past tense? Some things can't be changed, just like Chen Yuqing. What did you say? Huang Yun questioned coldly. Yi Hua said faintly, didn't you want to know where Chen Yuqing has been these few days? Then I'll be merciful and tell you that we've been making up for all these years of separation these past 3 days. I've enjoyed every inch of her skin, and she's enjoyed my man's charm. You. The divine aura of sun and moon in Huang Yun's hand trembled slightly. It seemed to have sensed its master's anger, and the entire sword began to become irritable. Yi Juetian, who was standing at the back, was also speechless. You rejected sister-in-law outside the door, and in the end, you said that you and sister-in-law were enjoying sex together. If sister-in-law knew about this, she would definitely blame you, big brother. It's mine, it will always be mine. Past tense? How can your current style compare to mine? Yi Hua shouted out lightly, and the black whip in his hand struck towards Huang Yun. Huang Yun did not dare to be careless. The divine breath of sun and moon in his hand directly pierced out. Boom! The 2 ancient artifacts immediately erupted with a huge amount of energy, and all of the trees in the surroundings instantly collapsed. The entire mountaintop was razed to the ground, and loud noises rang out from the ground. Even Lingdu could feel the noises coming from the ground. At Qian's house. Qian Yuqing hadn't slept for a long time. Suddenly she sensed a powerful aura coming over. The teacups on the table began to make noises, and even the ground began to tremble. What happened outside? Qian Yuqing wasn't the only one who sensed it, a lot of big figures in Lingdu also sensed it. This should be the damage caused by the 2 ancient artifacts. However, in the surroundings of Lingdu, who would dare to use ancient artifacts? This was the crime of great disrespect. Countless black figures scuttled out from Lingdu and arrived at the location of the incident. However, other than a pile of ruins, they didn't discover anything else. Inside Lingdu, Yi Hua was smoking with a cigarette in his mouth, and his expression seemed to be a bit unhappy. Yi Hua originally didn't want to let Huang Yun off, but Yi Juetian said that doing so would attract a lot of people over. Yi Hua had no choice but to leave the scene, and that Huang Yun seemed to be aware of this as well, thus he left as well. As for his 3 brothers, who knew where they had run off to long ago. Big brother, why did you suddenly come? Yi Juetian's injuries had just been taken care of by Yi Hua, so it wasn't a big deal at all. I was just bored. Yi Hua said indifferently. You wanted phase 2. Yi Juetian grabbed onto Yi Hua's shoulder, causing Yi Hua's brows to wrinkle. To actually dare to grab onto my shoulder, if not for the fact that you are my blood-related younger brother, I would have chopped off your hand. Big brother, do you have any plans for coming back this time? Are you going to acknowledge your ancestors and return to the clan, then marry big sister-in-law? Yi Juetian asked curiously. He felt that Yi family would only be able to flourish in his big brother's hands. Yi Hua said indifferently, do you think that I am that kind of boring person? Then big brother, what do you plan to do? Just take a look. Yi Hua said gravely. The main reason why he came back was to take a look at his birth mother. He didn't have any other intentions. Yi Juetian's eyes lit up. Big brother evidently came back to take a look at mother. This is a good thing. Big brother, then what about big sister-in-law? Not interested. Yi Hua said indifferently. He didn't really like Chen Yuqing. But big brother, you just destroyed sister-in-law's innocence. How do you expect sister-in-law to go out and meet people in the future? Yi Juetian teased. He had heard what his big brother had said just now. Huang Yun was going crazy from anger. Yi Hua did not say anything. Just now, he was merely trying to anger Huang Yun, and he did not think too much about it. Actually, sister-in-law is a good woman. Big brother, don't make her angry. She has done too much for mother. For mother, you have to marry her. You don't have to worry about me. Yi Juetian sighed deeply. But big brother, you've offended Imperial Cloud this time, which is equivalent to offending the entire Imperial family. If you leave just like that, it will be even more difficult for mother and I to maintain our foothold and also sister-in-law. Just a small matter. Yi Hua said faintly. Big brother, you're awesome. If you have the ability, then deal with it before you leave. Yi Hua snorted coldly, then continued smoking his cigarette and did not say anything. Soon the two arrived at Yi family's door. The guard who was standing guard outside the door rubbed his eyes. He didn't drink tonight, so why were there two Yi Juetians? Yi Hua and Yi Juetian slowly walked up the stairs. At this moment the guard was able to see clearly. This expression, how is this possible? This is impossible. How is it possible for Yi family's young master to still be alive? Bang. Right at this moment the door was pushed open. Yi Shan could be seen walking out with a sunken face, and behind him were Yi Chen, Yi Liangkai and Yi Jia. End of this chapter. Chapter 980. Yi Hua looked at the man who walked out of the room and discovered that this man looked a bit similar to me. However, that's all there is to it. Compared to me, this man is simply not on the same level. From Yi Juetian's words, Yi Hua could tell that this father of his seemed to not treat his mother well. Subconsciously, Yi Hua did not have a good impression of Yi Hua, and there was even enmity towards Yi Hua. Yi Shan looked at the man in front of him with a complicated gaze. He couldn't believe what he was seeing. Yi Hua was actually still alive and he even came back. This is too fake. When they heard Old Third's words, they even thought that they had gone mad or were seeing things. Yi Hua had already been dead for 1,000 years, how could he still be alive? But who was this person in front of him? He is my eldest son Yi Hua? Who are you? Yi Shan asked in a deep voice. He was probably a liar. What a swindler. Yi Hua looked at the man in front of him and remained silent. Yi Juetian walked forward and said respectfully, Father, this is big brother Yi Hua. Did I ask you? Yi Shan shouted out in a low voice and stared fixedly at Yi Hua. Yi Juetian paused for a moment, then retreated to the side. Yi Hua looked on silently and continued to not speak. I'll ask you again. Who are you? Yi Shan's aura could not help but leak out a little, and the air was immediately surrounded by a murderous aura. Yi Hua finally spoke. However, he asked Yi Juetian, who is this old man? This was obviously done on purpose. After all, Yi Juetian had just called him father. Wasn't this obvious? However, towards this father of his, Yi Hua did not have a single bit of good impression. Back then, Yi Juetian had already said that the reason why this heartless father of his took away his mother's medicine was to find Chen Yuqing. This kind of scum is actually worthy of being my father? If this matter were to spread out, wouldn't I become a laughing stock? Big brother? Yi Juetian shouted out, not understanding what his big brother meant. Was he going to go against the heavens and the earth? Yi Shan was finally unable to endure it any longer. Taking a step forward, a powerful aura was emitted out from Yi Shan's body, causing Yi Hua's robe to flutter crazily. Fighting was forbidden in Spirit Capital. After all, they were all experts. If they were to fight, it would be a huge loss. Yi Shan raised his hand and brought down a biting cold aura. Is he trying to slap Yi Hua's face? Or is he trying to send Yihua flying? Yihua's gaze turned cold. What guts? How dare you be so impudent in front of me? The main body was only here to represent his previous life. From the moment his original body turned into a skeleton, the previous Yihua was already dead. The current Yihua was just an undead. It was a supreme being. How could a small fry like you fight him? Yishan's palm didn't land on Yihua's face, it stopped in the air. Yihua didn't make a move to stop Yishan's palm, he just stood there motionlessly. At this moment the surrounding people were all stunned. What was going on? Did something happen? How dare you? Yihua said coldly. Yishan felt as if his hand was being controlled by something, unable to move at all. Just as Yishan was feeling puzzled, a huge force struck him and sent him flying into the Yi clan. Boom boom boom. From a bird's eye view, the Yi family's building seemed to have been dug by someone. Yi Juetian was stupefied. Yi Qin was stunned as well. Yi Liangkai was stunned. Yi Zhe was dumbfounded. As soon as this big brother came back, he beat up his father. Moreover, it was so brutal. The family guards who were standing at the side didn't know what to do. From a professional point of view, such a thing should have happened, but from a rational point of view, they had no chance of winning. After all, even Yi family's family head was sent flying. Even if they went up, they would also be sent flying. Furthermore, this was Yi family's eldest son. It wouldn't be good to beat him up, right? It was only right and proper for the son to beat the father. After all, it was also right and proper for the father to beat the son. Father. Yi Qin came back to his senses and hurriedly ran back. Yi Liangkai and Yi Zhe took a deep look at Yihua. They discovered that their big brother had changed. He seemed to have become unreasonable, and he would start fighting with just a single word of disagreement. How could it be like this in the past? It was always others bullying Big Brother, and back then Big Brother didn't pay attention to them and didn't beat them up. But look at the current situation. Not only did he scold the ninth prince, he even beat up his father. Yi Juetian didn't know what to say anymore. Big Brother beat up father the moment he came back. This is too scary. Big Brother, you have to wipe your butt clean before you can go back. Yi Juetian said in a low voice. Right now Big Brother is offending more and more people, and in the future, I'm afraid that he will offend even more people. What is there to be afraid of? Yihua said indifferently and stepped into Yi family. With this step, it had been 1,000 years, and the last time they met was when they got married. At that time the entire Yi family was still filled with joy. However, looking at the current situation, there was no such atmosphere, and some of the buildings had even collapsed. When Yihua and Yi Juetian walked into Yi family, a group of cavalries arrived at the entrance. All of them were wearing black masks and they looked very scary. What's going on inside? The leader asked gravely. The family guard cupped his hands and said respectfully, Lord Guard, Yi family's patriarch is currently teaching his son a lesson, and the commotion is a bit big. This Lord Guard didn't think too much and said gravely, if you want to cause a commotion, go outside the city. Yes, I will report. The family guard said respectfully without any temper. However, it wasn't like this in the past. No matter who it was, when they arrived at the Yi family's entrance, they would have to be respectful. These were all bestowed by Yihua back then, causing Yi family's reputation to spread throughout the entire God's realm. However, following Yihua's fall, this status slowly disappeared as well. Very quickly this group of cavalries left, and they didn't ask too many questions. It could be that the long period of stability made them feel that nothing would happen, and comfort caused them to let down their guard. Very quickly Yi Qin found his father, who was within the ruins. Right now Yishan's expression was a bit sluggish, as if he didn't dare to believe what was happening before his eyes. He, the patriarch of Yi family, was actually directly sent flying by someone, and it was such a miserable matter. This was something that had never happened before. The main point was that it was his own son. No. It was still uncertain whether or not it was his son. This evil creature, today I will place righteousness before family. Yishan's anger had already reached the peak, and he didn't care about anything else as he released his aura and flew towards Li Jing's courtyard. Because he knew what his eldest son had come back for. Yi Qin and the others didn't know what to say, they were unable to fathom or think. Is this really Big Brother or not, to actually beat up even his own father? This is so terrifying. Yihua arrived at the courtyard very early. Yi Juetian was very happy, Big Brother finally came to see mother. This is a good thing, a very good thing. Standing at the entrance, Yihua was a bit nervous, not knowing what to say next. Yi Juetian stood at the side, waiting nervously. However, inside the house, Li Jing tightly clasped her hands together. That feeling. End of this chapter. Chapter 981. Lu Jing looked towards the shadow at the doorway. Is my Yihua back? It must be. That was great. That's great. Big brother. Yi Juetian called out softly. Yihua let out a breath and placed both of his hands on the door. However, at this moment, a vicious aura appeared in the air. Yihua's face sunk and he casually swung his arm. Bang. Brilliant colors bloomed in the pitch-black night sky. It also brought with it a powerful pressure that shook spirit capital once again. Yi Juetian stared blankly at the fireworks in the sky. It felt like something big was about to happen. For such a situation to occur in Lingdu, he would definitely be arrested. Along with the loud noise, many people felt it. They walked out of their homes and looked in the direction of the Yi family. He thought to himself, is the Yi family crazy? How dare they fight in Lingdu? Aren't they afraid of the emperor's punishment? Just as he finished thinking, an even more savage aura burst forth. This caused everyone to be dumbstruck. Could something have happened to the Yi clan? Otherwise, why would the Yi family patriarch risk his life like this? Chen Yuqing also looked in the direction of the Yi clan and frowned. What had happened to the Yi clan for them to cause such a huge commotion? Tonight was not peaceful at all. However, in the palace of Lingdu, this was the emperor's bedroom. At this time, the emperor had already fallen asleep, and the one sleeping beside him was the concubine who was serving him tonight. There was still a blush on her pretty face and it seemed that she was satisfied. However, two powerful auras roused the emperor. The emperor opened his majestic eyes and they were captivating. Just this aura alone was enough to tell that this person was not ordinary. What an awesome person. Come. The emperor called out in a low voice. Her ladyship, who was sleeping on the side, was startled awake. She covered her chest with the bedding. Your Majesty, what happened? The emperor didn't say anything. He stood up. The muscles on his body were well proportioned. They weren't explosive and looked very comfortable. Soon, an imperial guard pushed open the door and entered, kneeling outside the curtain. This subordinate kowtows in salute to your Majesty. Long live the emperor. What's going on outside? Your Majesty, two strong auras have appeared in the Yi clan. The emperor was very angry at this moment. He muttered in a low voice, what's going on tonight? Can't you let me sleep? Is this Yi Shan tired of living? Your Majesty, please quell your anger. Let me go and check the situation. The emperor frowned. Go. Yes. Your Majesty, the young concubine on the bed called out sweetly. This actually made the emperor's mood a little better. The emperor slowly sat by the side of the bed. The beautiful concubine was like a snake, coiling around the emperor, her hands caressing his firm chest. Emperor, this concubine will make you comfortable. The emperor patted the young concubine's head. My beloved concubine knows me best. This was the master of spirit capital, Huang Feidi. In this god's realm he was the emperor. And just now it was the imperial guard. Sky-bearing. To be able to become the emperor's personal guard, one could only imagine his strength. The sky-bearing empire received the emperor's decree and flew towards the Yi family with the three of them. It had to be said that the sky-bearing empire was rather dashing. His golden armor even reflected light in the night sky. It was as though he was telling everyone that he, the imperial bodyguard, was here. If you were to fight, you definitely shouldn't wear golden armor, as it would attract aggro because it was too glaring. For such a show-off, it was best to kill him directly. Right now, outside the courtyard, Yi Hua and Yi Shan were still confronting each other. The entire courtyard was in a mess, the surrounding walls had all collapsed, while the room behind Yi Hua was safe and sound. Of course it was protected by Yi Hua. Yi Shan stared fixedly at Yi Hua. In his heart he was still shocked. This person was actually able to block two of my attacks and it seems to be so easy for him. Yi Juetian was a bit flabbergasted as well. In actuality, I don't know how strong Big Brother is right now, but looking at how Big Brother is acting right now, Big Brother seems to be very formidable, beating up Father to the point where Father doesn't even have the strength to retaliate. This is really venting my mother's anger, but now that I have beaten up Father, how am I going to deal with it in the future? This is truly a troublesome problem, and there will be people coming from the palace very soon. Suddenly Yi Hua heard the sound of a door opening behind him. This caused Yi Hua's heartbeat to quicken. He was able to remain calm when facing Yi Shan, but when he heard that someone walked out from behind him, Yi Hua wasn't able to remain calm anymore. No matter how much of an undead Yi Hua was, he was still Lu Jing's son in the end. His skeleton was formed in Lu Jing's stomach, and this was an undeniable fact. Without Lu Jing, how would there be Yi Hua today? Of course, Yi Shan's sewing was also indispensable. Lu Jing looked at the back view in front of her, and her eyes immediately became moist. This is my Yi Hua, this back view. This body shape, it is exactly the same as back then. The only thing that has changed is his hairstyle. What a strange hairstyle. However, this is not the main point, this is my son. Yi Hua could feel the agitation in the heart of the woman behind him. This feeling is very strange, just like some of the scenes that I have seen before in the past. I killed someone else's son, and that mother screamed out and charged towards me without a care for her life. At that time, I felt that this woman must have gone mad, and running away should have been the correct choice, yet she actually charged towards me without a care for her life. Back then, I didn't have any thoughts about that kind of feeling, but now, Yi Hua looked at his own mother walking in front of him and opening up her arms. At this moment, Yi Hua seemed to have understood a lot of things. Those mothers swore to protect their own sons with their lives. So this is what family love is. It is indeed different from love. Yishan, if you have any anger, come and vent it on me. Don't hurt my child. Right now, Lu Jing suddenly seemed as if she had changed into another person, and she looked extremely similar to those women that Yi Hua had seen in the past, just that all of those women were killed. In Lu Jing's heart, it is fine to treat her however you want, but if you want to kill my son, then you have to step over my dead body first. Lu Jing, get out of my way. He is not Yi Hua. Until now, Yi Shan still wasn't willing to believe that the man in front of him was Yi Hua. In Yi Shan's heart, on one hand he wanted Yi Hua to come back, but on the other hand he didn't want Yi Hua to come back. These two kinds of emotions intertwined together, causing Yi Shan to be a bit on the verge of collapse. In the past, Yi Hua was a double-edged sword. He could allow Yi family to rise, but he could also allow Yi family to be destroyed in an instant. Because back then, Yi Hua was too upright. This kind of personality was like a ticking time bomb. What do you know? He is my Yi Hua. Could it be that I don't even recognize my own son? Lu Jing screamed out. After so many years, I finally shouted out. These people are jealous of my Yi Hua, and that's why they are thinking of ways to kill Yi Hua. If it was possible back then, Lu Jing would have taught Yi Hua that he shouldn't be too outstanding, and that he should hide his own excellence, because this world isn't able to contain very outstanding people. Back then, when Lu Jing found out about this point, it was already too late. Thus, when Lu Jing was teaching Yi Juetian, Lu Jing was like this. End of this chapter. Chapter 982. However, Yi Juetian wanted to be a hero like his big brother, and he didn't want to be low profile at all. Unfortunately, his talent wasn't enough, and he was still unable to catch up to Yi Hua. Yi Hua is already dead. He isn't Yi Hua. Yi Shan's voice was trembling a bit. It was unclear what he was thinking right now. Perhaps Yi Shan was thinking that if this is Yi Hua, then Yi family would be in great trouble because the royal family wouldn't let Yi Hua off. The one who acted back then was definitely the royal family. No. He is my son. I am 100% sure. After finished speaking, Lu Jing slowly turned around. Slightly raising her head, she looked towards Yi Hua. Although Yi Hua and Yi Juetian looked exactly the same, Lu Jing was able to tell that there was a cold and indifferent aura coming from between Yi Hua's brows. This is my Yi Hua, my son. This was also the first time Yi Hua saw his mother. Compared to what he imagined, his mother seemed a bit different. No matter what, my mother is a deity and she should be living a life of luxury. However, looking at the woman in front of me, her body was thin, her clothes were simple and elegant, her black hair was naturally messy, and there were even some white hairs on her sideburns. Her entire temperament was very different. However, Yi Hua had never seen that pair of doting eyes before. Even Qingya and Donghuang Baiji had never seen such a pair of eyes before. This kind of feeling is hard to describe, but it just makes me feel warm. This kind of warmth is very comfortable, just like bathing under the winter sun. Yi Hua saw that his mother in front of him stretched out her hand towards his face. Right now, Yi Hua had two choices in his heart. One was to stop her. The other was to allow it. However, if I stop her, will I make her sad? Even if I am not her son, I can at least make her happy for a bit. Although I am her son in the past. It's just that the things that Yi Hua did in the past are actually being taken care of by me. I really don't know how the Yi Hua lived in the past. He should be very weak, right? Yi Hua guessed correctly. Towards his enemies, the Yi Hua in the past was very fierce, but towards his own people, he couldn't be fierce at all. He could clearly kill them to prevent future troubles, but that kindness of his left behind a seed of trouble. In the end, Yi Hua still allowed it. Mother's hands were different from Qingya and the others' hands. The hands of Qingya and the others were very tender and smooth. All of them were women who had never done any chores before, and had maintained their hands very well. However, his mother was different. Her palms were rough, but her palms were warm. This caused Yi Hua to feel a new emotion. I, the Supreme Overlord, am rather happy today. This is the feeling of kinship. It is indeed not bad. It was very comfortable. Lejing, get away from him. He's here to harm our family. Yi Shan's figure flashed, and he was as fast as the wind. However, no matter how fast a person was, could he be faster than Yi Hua? Wasn't this showing off in front of Guan Yu? Yi Hua could be seen slowly raising his right hand. It was the divine finger-snapping technique again. This was also one of Yi Huajin's most commonly used moves, mainly because it was effective, so he used it more often. When he was outside, he had to remember to snap his fingers. Maybe it would work? Just like now, an unknown red gas had enveloped the air. Yi Shan's body gradually appeared, as if he was trapped in an unknown red gas. No matter how he struggled, it was to no avail. Yi Jueqin was dumbfounded. Overlords were divided into low-grade, middle-grade, high-grade, and high-grade. Father's overlord strength had reached middle grade, but in Big Brother's hands he was simply like a monkey. Just how strong is Big Brother? Could it be that Big Brother has already reached high-grade overlord? Or could it be that he has already reached high-grade overlord? Bullshit, Yi Hua only knows about Supreme Overlord. If there was a title above it, he would definitely put it on. After all, I, the Supreme Overlord, am the strongest. Lejing didn't even look at Yi Shan, her eyes were fixated on her son. Her hands were lightly caressing onto her son's cheeks, and tears were slowly falling down. Meanwhile, Yi Hua looked at his mother who was in front of him, and his right hand was slightly swaying. As the father, Yi Shan was being swung around by his son just like that. Endless rumbling sounds rang out from Yi family, and all of the buildings in Yi family were smashed into pieces by Yi Shan. Meanwhile, Yi Hua continued to wave his fingers, seemingly using this method to wash away the grievances that his mother had suffered for many years. Yi Chen and the others didn't know what to do. Big Brother's change caused them to feel afraid. In the past, they still dared to clamor because Big Brother wouldn't do anything to them. But now, do we dare to clamor? Could it be that we are going to become like Father, being played around by Big Brother's fingers? It is very terrifying. Perhaps it was because the commotion caused by Yi family was very big. A lot of people in Lingdu were woken up by the commotion, especially the big families that lived next to Yi family. Rumbling sounds could be clearly heard coming from Yi family's side. Are they tearing down a family? The Yi clan was really generous. Chen Yuqing was a little unable to stand still. Just what happened to Yi family? Could it be that something happened to Yi Juetian? Yuqing. Just as Chen Yuqing was about to move, Chen Yi's voice suddenly rang out. Chen Yuqing slightly lowered her head. Father? Yuqing, you have done too many things for Yi family, you should have your own life, do you understand, child? How could Chen Yi not know that her daughter had compromised for the sake of the spiritual spring? However, this is also good, at least there is one thing that can make her daughter compromise. Chen Yuqing listened to the endless sounds coming from far away, then nodded her head. I understand. Alright, go back and sleep peacefully. Chen Yi rubbed onto her daughter's head and said with a doting smile. Chen Yuqing turned around and walked into the house, but she didn't sleep and looked at the secret passage at the side. However, looking at the shadows outside, if Father doesn't find anyone after coming in, he will definitely suspect this secret. It is better not to use it. I'm really worried about Yi family, just what happened. Chen Yi stood outside the house and looked towards Yi family's direction, not planning to go and join in the liveliness. In spiritual capital, if one didn't have the confidence, one shouldn't go and interfere in other matters. After all, one would bring trouble to oneself, especially this kind of fight. The entire spiritual capital knew what happened to Yi family, but no one came to watch the liveliness, because everyone's thoughts were the same as Chen Yi's. One can listen to the liveliness, but one mustn't go and watch. If one saw something that one shouldn't know, then it would be hard to say. The water in this spiritual capital is very deep. In Yi family, if one looked down from above, more than half of Yi family's buildings had collapsed, and Yi Shan was like a huge iron ball, crashing here and there. Suddenly, Yi Hua put down his hand and slightly raised his head to look at the night sky. A warrior wearing golden armor appeared. This was of course Sky Bearing, who rushed over. Sky Bearing stood in the air and looked at the entire Yi family with a strange expression. Just what is going on? Aren't those the Yi family brothers? What is this Yi family doing? End of this chapter. Chapter 983. Were they all sick? Who was that person? Why does he look like Yi Juetian? No. Yi Juetian was at the side. Then he is. Yi Qin and the rest also saw the arrival of Sky Bearing. There wasn't a single person in spiritual capital who didn't know Sky Bearing. After all, he was the emperor's personal guard and a very popular person. He belonged to the same generation as Yi Hua, and back then he and Yi Hua were also two heroes. However, Yi Hua's brilliance had completely overshadowed Sky Bearing. This caused others to only know of Yi Hua and not know who Sky Bearing was. It was only after Yi Hua got into an accident that Qing Tian gradually appeared in everyone's eyes, and he climbed all the way to become the emperor's favorite. To the people of Sky Bearing Empire, there was also a shadow in their hearts, and that was Yi Hua. Outstanding people will always attract the jealousy of others. Back then, other than Chen Yuqing, Yi Hua basically didn't have any social connections. He was cold and aloof, but his attitude was the same as now. It was hateful. What he lacked was a girl's liking, but there were none of them. Yi Hua raised his head and looked towards Sky Bearing. Their gazes collided in the air. Yi Hua's incomparably cold eyes caused Sky Bearing's body to tremble. This pair of eyes had appeared in his dreams more than once. She wanted to defeat him, but she had no way to do so, even in her dreams. Wasn't he dead? How could a dead person come back? Sky Bearing could not help but rub his eyes to confirm if this was real. In his heart, he was telling himself that this was fake. This is fake. It can't be true. But no matter how he rubbed it, the demon was still standing there. Even the golden armor on Sky Bearing's body had dimmed quite a bit. It really followed the mood of its owner. Sky Bearing Empire looked at the figure in the ruins. Isn't that Yi Shan? How did he end up in such a sorry state? Qing Tian took in a deep breath and suppressed the fear in his heart. Maybe it wasn't what he thought. Qing Tian and the people behind him slowly descended. Yi Hua silently looked at these people while shielding his mother behind him. Towards this subconscious action, Yi Hua paused for a moment. He began to understand what had happened in the past. It was natural for a son to protect his mother. There was no need to think too much about it. It was the same the other way around. Yi Juetian, who was at the side, was slightly nervous. The Sky Bearing Empire was not one to be trifled with. However, Yi Juetian had forgotten that right now, Yi Hua was not someone to be trifled with. When his temper flared up, he would behead all of them. Yi Chen did not dare to say anything now. This unfamiliar big brother even dared to beat their own father, much less them. What's going on? Sky Bearing bellowed. I am now an imperial bodyguard of the emperor and not the Sky Bearing Empire of the past. Even if you are Yi Hua, you are not the Yi Hua of the past. Your return will only make those who hate you even more because you didn't die. Yi Chen and the others lowered their heads in silence, not daring to act rashly. Sky Bearing frowned. What was the meaning of this? In the past, even if they were in front of Yi Hua, they wouldn't be so reserved, and they would even say that their big brother wasn't Yi Hua. But now he didn't. He didn't dare to say a word. Who are you? Qing Tian looked towards Yi Hua and asked. Yi Juetian wanted to say something, but he was stopped by Yi Hua. Yi Juetian asked faintly, why do you idiots want to ask the same question? In actuality, don't you all know what's going on in your hearts? Yi Juetian gave him a thumbs up in his heart. My big brother is still the most awesome. Following behind my big brother is so cool. Afterward, Li Jing, who was behind Yi Hua, slightly wrinkled her eyebrows. Right now, Yi Hua's way of speaking is a bit rude. I have to properly change Yi Hua's attitude. This won't do, I have to be polite. In the past, Yi Hua was just too polite. When Sky Bearing heard Yi Hua's words, his brows wrinkled. Is this really Yi Hua? If not, how would he dare to speak like this? *CK, is this really Yi Hua or not? Boom. An explosion could be heard from within the ruins, and Yi Shan's body soared into the sky, then landed on the ground, unfilial son. Right after Yi Shan's words finished, Yi Shan's body was once again sent flying. This time he crashed into the ruins and didn't come out again. After Yi Chen and the others saw this, they shivered and didn't dare to say anything. As soon as Lord Father came out, he inexplicably flew out. This was completely unreasonable. Lord Father hadn't even finished speaking. Li Jing was a bit dazed as well. Why did Yi Hua hit me? Did I see wrongly just now? Yi Hua, what you are doing is wrong. How can you hit me? Even if you want to hit me, you shouldn't do it in front of so many people. Let's just secretly hit your father. Sky Bearing was stupefied. This son hit his father. He hit me so openly. I have never seen such a thing before. Today my horizons have been broadened. However, here comes the problem. I didn't even notice how Yi Shan was hit just now. Yi Shan had already turned into an afterimage and disappeared. Could it be that after disappearing for so many years, this Yihua's strength has already reached an abnormal level. How is this possible? However, what should I do now? Am I going to be beaten up like Yi Shan? I am the Emperor's imperial bodyguard. Even if I give him 100 guts, I wouldn't dare to do this. Yihua, you actually dare to hit your own father? Your heart deserves to be put to death. Sky Bearing shouted out towards Yihua. Yihua said faintly, is that so? I have recently lost my memory and I can't remember things very clearly. Also, I didn't know how to control my strength when I attacked. It would be bad if I were to injure myself. This persistence was a blatant threat. Yi Juetian felt that his big brother is too arrogant to actually dare to even threaten the Emperor's imperial bodyguard. This is too awesome. When can I be like big brother? Lu Jing was the same. When did Yi Hua become so arrogant? No wonder little Tian said that big brother has changed. This change is too big. Right now, Yi Qin and the others seem to have gotten used to it. They stood at the side and didn't say a word. Do you know who I am? To actually dare to speak arrogantly. I seem to have the right not to know. Which ball are you? To dare to speak in front of me? Not everyone has the right to speak in front of me. You will pay the price. Sky Bearing couldn't help but want to draw out his blade, but just now Yi Shan was beaten up. Yi Hua took out a stick of cigarette and lit it up. I am watching. What are you watching? I am watching how you are going to pay the price. Yi Hua puffed out a mouthful of smoke. Lu Jing felt that the things that Yi Hua smoked were definitely not good for his body. All mothers are like this. No matter how old their son is, they would always take care of him as if he was still a child. Sky Bearing took in a deep breath. If this matter wasn't because of Yi Hua, it would be very easy to deal with. This Yi Hua suddenly came back. This isn't a simple matter. Yi Hua was a general in the past. After Yi Hua died, he was directly conferred the title of a brave great general, enjoying all the privileges of the emperor. However, right now he actually died for no reason. That is, a brave great general who didn't die, enjoying all the privileges of the emperor. Just what is going on? Is he crazy? With this kind of attitude of yours, the emperor will definitely punish you. Just you wait and see. After finished speaking, Sky Bearing left without any hesitation at all. Yi Hua shook his head. These deities are all cowards. Chapter 984. Just like that, Yi Qin and the others watched as Sky Bearing became more powerful. He was actually so powerful. When he came, he was full of vigor. But after seeing Big Brother, it was like a mouse seeing a cat, instantly terrified. Are you still an imperial bodyguard? Is this how you behave? Do you still have a bottom line? Do you still have any professional ethics? Spirits were not allowed to fight, but this was nothing. Was this not considered a fight? What was considered a fight? The entire Yi family had become like this. Oh my God. When this Big Brother returns, he will turn the entire spirit capital upside down. Yihua, have you eaten? Mother will go and cook for you. Right now, Lu Jing didn't care about anything else. With both of her sons by her side, she was already very satisfied. Right now, Yihua felt a bit awkward and didn't know how he should reply. Mother, Big Brother and I are hungry. Yi Juetian said happily at the side. With such an awesome Big Brother, who wouldn't like him? He was much more promising than himself. Lu Jing hurriedly said, Mother is going to cook for you and your brother. Yihua, wait for Mother. You're not allowed to leave, okay? Yihua nodded his head but did not say anything. Towards Yihua's attitude, Lu Jing felt that it was normal. After all, it had been such a long time since they last met, and furthermore Yihua had even lost his memories. Yihua watched as Lu Jing left happily. Soon after, he looked towards Yi Chen and the others. Yi Chen and the others shrunk back, not daring to look straight at Yihua. Are you still not going to scram? Are you going to stay here to eat? Yihua said coldly. Yi Chen, Yi Liang Kai, and Yi Zhe immediately performed cupped fist salutes and left immediately. They were probably going to look for their unconscious father and think of a solution. This Big Brother was too arrogant. He must protect yourself well. Yihua and Yi Juetian walked into the house at the back. Yihua sized up his mother's room. Very small, very ordinary. My mother has been living in this kind of broken down place. It is simply an insult to me. Big Brother, what's the matter? Yi Juetian poured a cup of water for Yihua. Yihua let out a breath. Has she been living here all along? Right now, Yihua still couldn't call her by her name. Big Brother, aren't you going to return the favor? Yi Juetian poked Yihua with his buttocks. Yihua glared at Yi Juetian. Yi Juetian had an indifferent look on his face. He is my big brother and we are all brothers. What's wrong with joking around? Was Big Brother going to slap him? Big Brother, Ever since you disappeared, Mother has been living here. Apart from me, there's no one else here, Yi Juetian said helplessly. In Yi Hua's mind, he couldn't help but think of his mother just now, and suddenly, his heart felt a bit stuffy. Why don't we bring him down? After staying in Wushu Empire's palace, this room seemed to be filled with misery and bitterness. Big brother, you've beaten up father and the 9th prince. You've even offended Sky Bearing just now. Sky Bearing is the favorite of the emperor. Yi Juetian couldn't help but worry about this. Big brother had offended a lot of people. It hadn't even been 2 hours. If he stayed for a day, he would have offended everyone. So high. It was so cold. After hearing that, Yi Hua laughed lightly. They are just a bunch of clowns. You have to get rid of your bad habit of being afraid of trouble. After that, he took out a cigarette and lit it. Big brother was awesome. Even this action revealed a kind of pretentiousness. No wonder he couldn't catch up with his big brother's footsteps. He was a little behind. Big brother, let me eat. Yi Hua took out a cigarette and passed it to his little brother. This is called smoking. Smoke? Sounds amazing. Yi Juetian lit the cigarette and took a breath. He immediately choked. Seems like even supreme beings can't take it. It's not easy to smoke. Yi Juetian frowned and said. Yi Hua shook his head. What does a young man like you know? It's a kind of loneliness. Yi Juetian looked at his big brother. He didn't understand, but he felt that it was awesome. As expected, this was something that he couldn't learn. Big brother, little brother has learned it. Yi Juetian imitated Yi Hua's expression, deep and depressed. Yi Hua said calmly, you still have a lot to learn in the future. Big brother, please enlighten me. Sure. Suddenly the door was pushed open. Yi family and Yi Juetian smoked as they looked at Lu Jing, who entered. Right now the small room was filled with fog. It was simply like heaven on earth. What are you two brothers doing? Lu Jing shouted, looking like she was scolding her sons. Yi Juetian's hand trembled, and he immediately extinguished the cigarette. He had a deep hatred towards them. Yi Hua stealthily stepped on the cigarette and extinguished it, then said gravely, Yi Juetian, don't give me these things in the future. They are very harmful. Yi Juetian? Lu Jing directly looked towards Yi Juetian. Little Tian, how can you be like this? When your big brother comes, you immediately act recklessly. If anything happens to your big brother, I will beat you up. Yi Juetian? Yi Hua sat at the side and didn't say anything. Yi Juetian looked at his big brother, then looked at his mother. You two are bullying me. Yi Hua, your little brother is very mischievous. In the future, properly take care of your little brother. Lu Jing placed the cooked dishes on the table. In Lu Jing's heart, these were Yi Hua's 3 favorite dishes. Shredded pork with green pepper, spicy tofu, red braised pork. Yi Hua looked at the dishes that his mother cooked, and his heart felt warm. These dishes were much better than what Qinya and the others cooked. Lu Jing scooped a bowl of rice and placed it beside her son. Yi Hua, try it. It has been a very long time since mother cooked. Yi Hua answered, then picked up the chopsticks and tasted the food. This feeling, why does it feel just like when I ate Auntie's fruit jianbing back then? That warm feeling, I am willing to be nagged by her. It has been a very long time since I had this kind of feeling. Yi Hua just likes to lie to himself and look for that warm feeling from Auntie's place. It's just that I don't want to admit it. Towards familial love, Yi Hua had a look of indifference, but in actuality, what he hoped to obtain the most was familial love. Is it delicious? Lu Jing asked tenderly. Her beautiful eyes were filled with love, seemingly afraid that the child would starve. It's delicious, Yi Hua said with a gloomy tone. His heart was very touched. More than. In the future, mother will cook for you every day. Lu Jing's smile was about to blossom. This is too blissful, too satisfied. Yi Hua nodded his head and slowly ate the food. It's so fragrant. Mother, what about me? Yi Juetian asked blankly. This is simply the rhythm of wanting a big brother and not a little brother. Mother, you can't be so biased. Little Tian, what are you doing here? Quickly go and pour some water for your big brother. Mother, hurry up, mother is really too fond of you. Yi Juetian was very speechless. This mother is being biased way too openly. Right now, Yi Hua was very happy. I haven't been this happy for a very long time. However, when there are people who are happy, there are people who are tragic. Yi Shan belonged to the tragic category. There was also Sky Bearing. Right now, Sky Bearing hurriedly rushed over to the Emperor's sleeping palace. Your Majesty, something big has happened. The lights in the room were on, but there was no reply. Chapter 985. Sky Bearing raised his head slightly. The Emperor's bedroom is still lit, he shouldn't be asleep yet. Emperor. Something big has happened. Sky Bearing's voice couldn't help but become louder. We must wake up the Emperor. After shouting, Sky Bearing lowered his head, and beads of sweat appeared on his forehead. Even now he still felt as if he was dreaming. That damned Yihua, why is he still alive? Why didn't the heavens take him away? Why are they still letting him appear? What are you making noise for? What big matter has happened? Am I going to die? Huang Feidi's voice rang out in the bedroom. His tone was filled with deep dissatisfaction, as if he was interrupted. Following the Emperor's words, Sky Bearing could hear the dissatisfaction of a woman, the coquettishness, as well as the Emperor's consolation. Emperor, this subject has an urgent matter to report. It is extremely urgent. Sky Bearing hurriedly shouted. A cold snort sounded from the room, and not long after, the door in front of the Sky Bearing Empire opened. Sky Bearing bowed and walked in with small steps. Huang Feidi was wearing a white robe and sitting in the study room, pouring himself a cup of water. You have disturbed my mood today. If you don't have a sufficient reason, you should know what the consequences are. Huang Feidi didn't even look at Sky Bearing as he said slowly. Accompanying the Emperor was like accompanying a tiger. There was no such thing as an eternal favorite. Sky Bearing immediately knelt beside Huang Feidi and said respectfully, Emperor, please forgive me. This subject is useless. I asked you to go to Yi family to take a look. How can you say that you are useless? Could it be that Yi Shan dares to make things difficult for you? Huang Feidi questioned. Sky Bearing took a deep breath and crawled even deeper. Emperor, it isn't Yi Shan from Yi family who is making things difficult for this subject, it is Yi Hua from Yi family. Huang Feidi snorted, Yi Hua? Looking at the Emperor's expression, it seemed like he hadn't remembered. However, just when he was about to drink the water, Huang Feidi froze and looked down at Sky Bearing. What did you just say? Emperor. Yi family. Yi Hua didn't die. He is back. A crisp sound rang out. The teacup in Huang Feidi's hand fell to the ground. This wasn't because he was frightened but because he was shocked. As the teacup broke, many people dressed in black could be seen rushing out from all directions. These were the people who were protecting the Emperor in the dark. Back down. Huang Feidi shouted lightly. Yes. In the blink of an eye they all disappeared. Seeing such a huge reaction from the Emperor, Sky Bearing was also a little flustered. He did not understand why the Emperor was like this. Was he afraid? Or was it because of something? You're right. The eldest young master of the Yi family, Yi Hua? Huang Feidi leaned forward and asked solemnly. Sky Bearing didn't dare to look straight at Huang Feidi. He lowered his head and said sincerely, That's right, it's that Yi Hua. Hearing this answer, Huang Feidi slowly closed his eyes. This damnable Yi Hua. Why is he not dead yet? Didn't he die back then? Why did he come back? Tell me everything you saw tonight. Yes. Hearing Sky Bearing's narration, Huang Feidi's gaze gradually turned grave. The moment this Yi Hua came back, he beat me up and he even tore apart more than half of Yi family. Is this still the Yi Hua of the past? Huang Feidi laughed lightly. To think that Yi Hua would actually lose his memories? This Yi Hua is rather curious. This kind of thing is really interesting. However, Yi Hua, you should not have come back. Many people will be unhappy with your return, including this Empress. You can leave now. Yes. Sky Bearing respectfully left. No matter how powerful he was just an imperial bodyguard. To put it bluntly, he was just a bodyguard of the Emperor. It was just that simple. There were some important matters that Sky Bearing didn't even have the chance to be involved in. How could Huang Feidi, who was sitting in the study room, still have the mood to be intimate with a woman? Towards Yi Hua's sudden appearance, he was caught unprepared. Man! Huang Feidi shouted out gravely. Sky Bearing, who just walked out, walked back in. Your Majesty. Call Shan Junren over. Yes. Shan Junren was the Prime Minister of Lingdu. His position was very high, and there was a saying that he was only below one person and above tens of thousands of people. Among the three great families of Lingdu, other than the Qian family, the Shan family was the same. Your Majesty, that beautiful concubine could be seen walking over leisurely with her soft tongue licking the corner of her lips. How could Huang Feidi have the mood to deal with such things right now? He said softly, You can return first. Your Majesty, the concubine continued acting coquettishly. It seemed like she still wanted to obtain the favor of this deity realm's emperor. What an honor that would be. If I can give birth to a boy, my status would instantly rise. This is a rare opportunity. Huang Feidi's expression sunk. I don't want to say it a second time. The concubine was startled and immediately said respectfully, "This concubine shall take her leave. Your Majesty, rest early." Huang Feidi nodded and waved his hand. The concubine left with a disappointed expression. She was truly reluctant to part with Huang Feidi. Huang Feidi slowly closed his eyes and pondered. This sudden news was truly hard for him to accept. Right at this moment, a black figure slowly condensed in the air. It was a man wearing a black cloak and his face couldn't be seen clearly. Huang Feidi took a look and said faintly, "Jackdaw is here." "Yes, Your Majesty." This jackdaw's voice was a bit hoarse and it made one feel uncomfortable. However, when this jackdaw saw Huang Feidi, he didn't kneel down. Instead, he acted respectfully. "Wait for Prime Minister," Huang Feidi said faintly. "Yes." After about the time it takes to brew a cup of tea, Shan Junren finally arrived. "This subject greets Your Majesty." Shan Junren was a white-haired old man. However, to a deity this was nothing more than a bag of skin. If it was possible, Shan Junren could also turn into a young fellow. It was just that he wasn't willing to do so. "You may rise." "Thank you, Your Majesty." After Shan Junren stood up, he greeted Jackdaw who was beside him. Jackdaw nodded his head in response. Huang Feidi said gravely, "Yi Hua is still alive." Hearing this, Shan Junren was clearly startled. On the other hand, Jackdaw's reaction was rather normal. There wasn't much fluctuation in his emotions. "Your Majesty, could it be that the commotion tonight was caused by Yi Hua?" Shan Junren asked gravely. Huang Feidi didn't answer Jackdaw's question. "What I'm curious about is the already dead Yi Hua. Why did he suddenly return? Is this a fake?" Shan Junren tightly furrowed his brows. In his heart he was extremely shocked. The Yi family's young master is actually still alive. This is impossible. As he thought about this, Shan Junren looked towards Jackdaw. However, Huang Feidi also looked towards Jackdaw, seemingly waiting for Jackdaw's confirmation. Jackdaw said softly, "Your Majesty, Prime Minister, back then, I personally saw the Demon Emperor kill Yi Hua. I threw his corpse into the Tao Ocean. I'm absolutely certain of this." End of this chapter. Chapter 986. Then you shouldn't have come back. The sea of the path is boundless and humans can't survive in it. Shan Junren whispered. He knew what Jackdaw was trying to say. Jackdaw wanted to kill Yi Hua without giving him any chance to live. Jackdaw said in a low voice, "Perhaps this Yi Hua is fake." "Okay, if it's fake then it's easy. But what if it's real? How should we deal with it? This emperor does not wish to hear my people shouting for someone other than the imperial family again." Huang Feidi said coldly. The memories of the past were still fresh in his mind. At first he didn't pay much attention to it, but soon the cheers grew louder and louder, even surpassing him, the emperor. His achievements overshadowed the Lord. His achievements overshadowed his masters. Furthermore, this Yi Hua really doesn't know how to conduct himself. Does he really think that he is the emperor? To think that he is even going to stand up for my people, who gave him the guts to do this. Leaving someone like that alive would definitely be a disaster, so they had to think of a way to get rid of him. It had to be said that their luck was quite good. Yi Hua had died at the hands of the Demon Emperor. Originally, Jackdaw had been the one to finish him off. That would have been perfect. Shan Junren said gravely, "Your Majesty, if this Yi Hua is real, then it will be a very big trouble. It's even more troublesome than back then." Prime Minister is right. After Yi Hua's death, in order to show his benevolence, His Majesty conferred Yi Hua the title of Great General Shan Yong, allowing him to enjoy all the privileges of the emperor. However, now that Yi Hua has returned alive, this means that he is a living Great General Shan Yong. Using the words of His Majesty back then, you are on equal footing with him. Jackdaw's words caused Huang Feidi's expression to become even more gloomy. Who knew that Yi Hua would still be alive? What does it matter to confer a title on a dead person? The problem was that the dead man had returned. So, let me ask you, is there any way to solve this problem? Huang Feidi questioned coldly. He was very vexed and depressed. This is simply lifting a rock and dropping it on my own feet. Back then, why did I confer the title of Shan Yong Great General for no reason, and even said those words? Although the effect was not bad, but now, Your Majesty, this subject feels that we should quietly observe the situation and see if this Yi Hua is real or fake. I believe that Yi Shan will definitely be able to verify it. Shan Junren suggested. Rather than making wild guesses, it was better to see how others would make their first move. After that, he would be able to see what would happen next. Jackdaw, tell me, said Huang Feiди in a low voice. Jackdaw took a deep breath. Your Majesty, I have a plan. Tell me. Huang Feidi's interest was piqued. Your Majesty, I'm sure you know about the 9th Prince and Chen Yuqing. Huang Feidi instantly understood. Prime Minister, what do you think of this matter? Huang Feidi asked. Shan Junren pondered for a bit, then said respectfully, Your Majesty, Chen Yuqing and Yahua's wedding is not considered complete, but after all, it has been 1,000 years. The 9th Prince's matter has long been spread in the city. Everyone is very optimistic about the two of them. As he spoke up to hear, Shan Junren paused for a moment, and then said with a cold tone, If Your Majesty wants to use this opportunity to get rid of Yi Hua, then you must announce the marriage between the 9th Prince and Chen Yuqing to the God's realm before everyone knows that Yi Hua has returned. Jackdaw nodded. If Yi Hua dares to act recklessly, the Emperor has 100 ways to punish him. Of course, the precondition is that Yi Hua is still thinking about Chen Yuqing. Good. Huang Feidi clapped his hands and stood up. As long as I don't get rid of this Yi Hua, he will be a thorn in my heart. Tomorrow morning, I will announce the marriage between Yun and Chen Yuqing to the world. Huang Feidi originally cared about this matter. After all, Chen Yuqing used to be Yi Hua's woman. Although she didn't marry him, they still had a relationship. However, Huang Yun was the son he valued the most. If his son liked her, how could he not allow it? However, right now it wasn't a matter of liking or not. He just wanted to use this matter to make Yi Hua rebel. That way he would have an excuse to get rid of this brave general. Everyone would have nothing to say. When the time came, they would even shout that the emperor was wise. Since the matter was decided, Huang Feidi immediately wrote an imperial edict and handed it to the manager. Tomorrow morning he would announce it. Shan Junren and Jackdaw left one after another. Meanwhile, Huang Feidi went to Huang Yun's sleeping quarters to check on the situation. Your Majesty has arrived. A sharp voice rang out. Huang Yun wasn't sleepy at all. He was sitting on a chair in deep thought. When he heard the voice outside, he immediately got up and went to welcome the emperor. Your son greets father. Huang Yun respectfully shouted. You may rise. The father and son walked into the room. Huang Yun stood beside Huang Feidi and asked respectfully, Father, it is already so late. Do you have any instructions? Yun, tomorrow the marriage between you and Chen Yuqing will be announced to the world. Huang Feidi went straight to the point. Huang Yun's gaze shook, and joy immediately appeared on his face. He hurriedly kneeled down and Thank you, father, for helping me. You should have met Yi Hua, right? Huang Feidi asked confusedly. Huang Yun, who was kneeling on the ground, trembled. After a while, he said gravely, I have met him. How do you feel? Huang Feidi asked. Very strong. Huang Feidi laughed lightly. He is indeed very strong. After returning, he even dared to beat me up. However, this time, father will not let him off. You should understand what I mean, right? Huang Yun wasn't an idiot. When he heard his father mention Yi Hua, he immediately understood why his father was so anxious. If Yi Hua was to be announced to the world before everyone knew about it, then Chen Yuqing would be a woman of the royal family, and he, Yi Hua, would be nothing. If you dare to touch a woman of the royal family, you will be surrounded and attacked by the entire God's realm. Father, I understand. I will listen to father's arrangements. Huang Feidi was very gratified. He stood up and patted on his son's shoulder, prepare to be the groom. Yes. To be honest, back then even Huang Feidi wanted to marry Chen Yuqing, but in the end Chen Yuqing was snatched away by Yi Hua. Does this count as letting the son obtain what the father can't obtain? Son respectfully sends off father. Looking at his father leaving, a happy smile finally appeared on Huang Yun's face. This Yi Hua's appearance is rather good, to actually be able to make father agree to it. I thought that I would have to persuade father bitterly. Upon thinking that tomorrow was coming, Huang Yun was unable to conceal the excitement in his heart. Meanwhile, in Yi family, Yi Shan was finally woken up by Yi Chen and the others. Evil creature. I'm going to hack him into pieces. The moment Yi Shan opened his eyes, he shouted out explosively. Lord Father, don't be impulsive, you won't be able to win against Big Brother. Yi Liangkai pulled onto his father and told him the truth. Yi Shan froze and the scene from earlier replayed within his mind. I actually can't even win against my son, and I was even thrown around by my son. Yi Chen discovered that his father's back view had suddenly become much older, and he hurriedly said, Lord Father, what should we do now? End of this chapter. Chapter 987. Yishan looked up at the starry sky. After a long time, he said indifferently, "Tomorrow, I'll go to the palace to meet the emperor." It seemed like his father was going to ask the emperor for help. This was also a good thing, but he was afraid that Big Brother would even dare to beat the emperor, then the whole Yi clan would be buried with him. No. Right now, Big Brother can also be counted as a kind and brave great general. Back then, the emperor had even personally said to me that in the future, I will be addressing Big Brother as my brother. There won't be any distinction between us. At that time, when everyone heard it, they had even loudly praised the emperor for being wise. Now that Big Brother was back, could it be said that he was on equal footing with the emperor? "Father, don't get agitated." Yichin quickly shouted and said what he was thinking. Yishan calmed down a lot after hearing this. Third brother was right, but this matter still had to be discussed with the emperor. Back then he had already implicated the Yi clan once. This time he must not let him implicate the Yi clan again. Yi Liangkai and Yi Zhe stood at the side without saying a word. They were digesting what had happened tonight. Now Big Brother had become a figure that could not be provoked. In the past, Big Brother could still be provoked even if it was just a few words. But look at his father. He hadn't even started talking and was already being beaten up by his big brother. How terrifying. Right now, Yihua still didn't know that the emperor had already started scheming against him. Yihua also didn't care about those things to the god's realm, he was just a passerby, and the food that mother cooks is rather delicious. In the future, I will let Qinya and Donghuang Baiji learn how to cook. Thinking up to here, Yihua became puzzled. Why do I want Qinya and Donghuang Baiji to learn from each other? Could it be that I am planning to bring my mother over to Wuxia Empire? After finishing the 3 dishes in front of him, Yihua was very satisfied. Yi Juetian, who was sitting at the side, was also very happy. When Lu Jing saw that her son had eaten all the food she had cooked, she was very happy. She hadn't felt this kind of happiness in a long time. It could be said that she had fulfilled one of her wishes. Little Tian, clean up. Yi Juetian looked at his mother. This change happened too quickly, catching him off guard. He was unable to react at all. Mother is too biased, doesn't she know that the little one is actually very hungry too? Yi Juetian had no choice but to pack his things and walk out of the house. Suddenly his eyes lit up. His mother was calling him away and telling him not to be a third wheel. This is so miserable. Right now I am the third wheel. Within the room, Yihua's heart was a bit nervous. The woman in front of me is both unfamiliar and familiar at the same time. Right now, I basically don't know what to say. Chat. He didn't seem to have anything else to talk about. He still wanted to call her mother, but he wasn't ready yet, so he couldn't bring himself to do so. Yihua's hands that were placed on the table were held by Lu Jing. Facing such an action, Yihua's entire body trembled. "Yihua, it's great to be able to see you back again," Lu Jing said with a satisfied smile as she lightly rubbed the back of Yihua's hand, feeling the feeling of the past. Yihua did not say anything. Lu Jing did not blame Yihua. After all, Yihua had lost his memories right now. Perhaps Lu Jing might feel that it was a bit strange, but they were, after all, mother and son. After interacting with each other for a long time, that feeling that she had not felt for a long time would appear again. Actually, in mother's heart, there are 2 things that have always been on my mind. Right now, one of the things has already been completed and there is only one thing left. While speaking, Lu Jing looked at Yihua with an unusual smile on her face. Yihua felt as if he was going to sell his main body out. Yihua looked as if he was going to sell his main body out. Lu Jing laughed tenderly. "Yuqing is a good girl. Yihua, you can't let others down, do you understand? Right now, mother only has one request, and that is for you to give Yuqing a perfect ending." "I already have a wife," Yihua said faintly. "Towards Chen Yuqing, I don't know what kind of feeling I have. If this woman is to be a collectible, this woman is indeed worth collecting, but if it is love? I feel that it has not reached that stage yet. This Chen Yuqing really likes me in the past. It is a pity that I am no longer the same person in the past. This is destined to be an ill-fated relationship. Seems to be a bit too much. If I collect them together with Daji, I can still consider it. However, it is definitely impossible for someone like Qinya and the others. I don't have any feelings for Chen Yuqing at all." Yihua was also lying to himself. If I really don't like Chen Yuqing, why did I save her that day in the Imperial Palace? I even took advantage of her and hugged her. One must know that Yihua is also a man who has misophobia. Normally, Yihua wouldn't even touch a woman. For Yihua to touch a woman, that woman must definitely be an outstanding beauty. After listening to what Yihua said, Lu Jing let out a light sigh. Yihua, after being away from home for so many years, it is normal for you to have a wife. However, mother wants to tell you that Yuqing has sacrificed too much for you. You cannot break her heart, do you understand? With so many people saying that Chen Yuqing sacrificed too much for me, even I, the Supreme Overlord, believe it. In actuality, Yihua naturally believed it. For the sake of meeting me, this woman is not even afraid of death. It would be a lie to say that I am not touched. However, I am still a man. Do you think that I will let you chase after me so easily? Wouldn't that make me seem very frivolous? Furthermore, even if you want to chase after me, you have to spend some time with me first and let me see if you are worthy of being a wife or not. Recently, Qingya and Donghuang Baiji have become a bit too arrogant. My sister-in-law is still the best, she can just run out of the house and make me worry a lot less. Looking at her son who was in a daze, Lu Jing asked gently, Yihua, did you hear what mother said? Yihua went into a daze for a moment, then said with a doubtful tone. However, Lu Jing didn't hear what Yihua said and thought that Yihua had agreed to it. Lu Jing immediately laughed. Yihua, you are truly mother's good son. For Yuqing to have a husband like you, she will definitely be happy for the rest of her life. Her efforts have finally been rewarded. Yihua looked at his mother blankly. What did I just say? Chinese characters are broad and profound, and different pronunciations represent different meanings. Even the same word is different in different places. For example, F***K. This word is too profound, even I like it. Who doesn't like flowers and plants? You humans with problematic thoughts, I am still pure enough. However, I really didn't say that just now. Yihua, have a good sleep tonight. After that, go and look for Yuqing tomorrow. Do you know, other girls have already waited for you for thousands of years? Don't let them continue to wait. Mother feels sad when I look at Yuqing. Yihua didn't know what to say anymore. Reject me now? My words are of enormous weight, and not even 100 undead coin can pull me back. However, didn't I say that just now? This is a combination of contradictions. Big brother, you finally thought it through. Sister-in-law has finally waited for this day, this is truly great. At this moment, Yi Juetian suddenly ran out and cried out in surprise. End of chapter. Chapter 988. Yi Juetian continued, Big brother, you are really something. If you like her, then so be it. You even locked sister-in-law outside for a few days. Don't you feel heartache? Yihua, you locked Yuqing outside? What's wrong? Lu Jing asked hurriedly, thinking that they were having a conflict. Yihua took a look at Yi Juetian, and Yi Juetian immediately had a bad feeling. Little Tian, sigh. Even Yihua himself was unable to say it out loud, and thus he could only speak with this kind of tone that was hard to speak out. Yi Juetian was stupefied. Big brother, your framing and framing are truly at the point of perfection. Lil, Tian, tell mother why your big brother and sister-in-law had a conflict. Was it because of you? Lu Jing asked sternly. She thought that Lil Tian was still so immature. Yi Juetian felt that he wasn't a match for his big brother. In the past, his big brother didn't even have this kind of brain, he was just a simple-minded person. Big brother felt that his IQ had increased. With just one sentence he could make his mother scold him. Mother, have a good chat with big brother. I'll go back and rest first. What? Little Tian. Little Tian. Lu Jing called out softly. How could Yi Juetian dare to stay any longer? A trace of an arc appeared on the corner of Yihua's mouth. However, when his mother turned her head around, that trace of arc immediately disappeared, and Yihua became the cold and aloof Yihua. Yihua, live well with Yuqing in the future. Do you understand? Mother will be at ease then. Sigh, seeing that mother is persuading me like this, I will reluctantly accept it. This is truly unbearable. Yihua replied lightly. Lu Jing's face was brimming with a happy smile, and her face was filled with gratification. Yihua, when you have time, bring your wife over and let mother take a look at her. Okay. In actuality, back then when he was talking to the ant, his attitude was basically the same, just that he didn't say anything. Lu Jing could finally put down the stone in her heart. That was great. Yihua suddenly thought of something and said lightly, I still have 4 children. After hearing that, Lu Jing was startled. Then she grabbed onto Yihua's arm with both of her hands. Really? Quickly bring it over and let mother take a look. My God, I have actually become a grandmother, this is great, Yihua actually has 4 children. I wonder if they look like Yihua or not. Yihua's hand moved and a photo appeared in his hand. Lu Jing picked up the photo with doubt and looked at the family of 8 in the photo. The 4 children were standing at the front with smiles on their faces. Yihua was standing in the middle, and on his left and right were 3 women, and all of them looked very beautiful. His son had good taste. And these children, they look so good. Yi Hua's genes are indeed powerful. Good, good, good. Lu Jingxin was satisfied. However, Yi Hua, why are there 3 of them? In actuality, I have 3 wives and one of my wives is not in the palace. Thus Xiao Tian thought that I only have 2 wives. Yi Hua explained. Right now, his words didn't seem to be that stiff anymore. Lu Jing nodded. She didn't blame them because these 3 daughters-in-law seemed to be pretty good. Yi Hua, that's why you can't treat Yuqing unfairly. Love Yuqing well and strive to give birth to a chubby boy next year. What else could Yi Hua do? Right now, he could only nod his head and agree to it. In the end, the mother and son chatted for a while more, and after that, Lu Jing looked for Yi Juetian and asked him to arrange Yi Hua's residence. Big brother, good job, this is my big brother. Yi Juetian happily held onto Yi Hua's shoulder. Yi Hua didn't say anything. Could it be that I am going to chop off my own little brother's arm? Don't force me. Yi Hua said faintly. Tsk, if big sister-in-law becomes another woman, big brother, you can say these words again. Yi Juetian said with a teasing tone. After hearing that, Yi Hua didn't say anything. Yi Juetian brought Yi Hua to his previous room, then asked curiously, Big brother, do you have any impression of this place? Yi Hua took a look at his surroundings, but he didn't have any impression of this place. So, Yi Juetian knew that this would be the case. I still have to think of a way to deal with big brother's amnesia. The amnesia of the undead was a kind of order, and no one was able to change it. That's right, big brother, there is something that I have to tell you about. And? Yi Juetian told Yi Hua about the matter regarding Great General Shan Yong, letting his big brother know what was going on. Upon hearing such news, Yi Hua chuckled lightly. Does that emperor have the qualifications to sit on the same level as me? What kind of joke is that? Do you know why you are still alive right now? That is because I am benevolent. This sentence can also be said to every single god. Big brother, don't secretly meet up with big sister-in-law. With a cheeky smile on his face, Yi Juetian left. Yi Hua shook his head. I, the supreme overlord, have always been the one being chased, so how can I possibly chase after a woman? Furthermore, I, the supreme overlord, have never met up with a woman in private. Sitting on the bed, Yi Hua waved his hand. The entire room could be seen lighting up, and a human figure could be seen slowly appearing. Yi Hua finally saw his past self. Very handsome, very cold, and somewhat similar to the appearance of the supreme overlord. However, it is still not enough. However, this hairstyle is not bad. I, the supreme overlord, have never had long hair before, so I can give it a try. Suddenly, Yi Hua saw that the floor was moving. A beautiful figure walked out from the floor, then pounced into Yi Hua's embrace. That appearance was exactly the same as when Qingya and Donghuang Baiji leaned into Yi Hua's embrace. From the looks of it, the past me and Chen Yuqing were indeed very much in love with each other. Yi Hua let out a light sigh, then removed the fantasy from his mind. Soon after, he walked to that piece of floorboard and opened it up. Inside the floorboard was actually a tunnel. It seems like he is heading towards Chen Yuqing's side. Should I go over and tell him that if he wants to be my woman, he must listen to my words? The 3 obediences and 4 virtues are the basic skills. After thinking about it, Yi Hua decided to forget about it. Does I, the supreme overlord, look like the kind of person who walks down the path of righteousness? Furthermore, this kind of thing has to depend on Chen Yuqing. Chen Yuqing has to comprehend it herself. After closing up the floorboards, Yi Hua took off his clothes and laid on the bed. The bedboard was a bit hard, making it not very comfortable to sleep on. I'll just make do with it and sleep for now. I still have things to do tomorrow. That night, some people had insomnia while others slept soundly. Dawn rose slowly, representing the beginning of a new day. However, the entire spirit capital seemed a little gloomy. Many things had happened last night. Although he didn't know what they were, it felt like something big had happened. At this time, Yi Shan had already put on his court attire and was ready to enter the palace to meet the emperor. The Yi family was actually not very far from the palace, so Yi Shan walked there directly. As soon as he walked out of the door, he saw a lot of people whispering to each other. Some even ran to the notice board. Yi Shan was very confused, so he followed them to take a look. Before he walked into the notice board, he heard someone talking. The 9th prince and Chen Yuqing's marriage actually succeeded. Isn't this too fake? How is it fake? I just feel that the 9th prince and Chen Yuqing are very compatible. No matter how compatible they are still Yi Hua's women, do you understand? Yi Hua died long ago, there is only Huang Yun left now. End of this chapter. Chapter 989. Do you want to fight? Come on. Do you think I'm afraid of you? The two fans immediately started fighting. However, Yishan did not look at them and walked towards the notice board. When he saw the good news on the notice board, Yishan was stunned. The emperor actually approved the marriage. Yishan immediately understood. For the emperor to approve the marriage at this crucial moment, it is obviously against Yi Hua. If Yi Hua dares to act recklessly, I will have an excuse to kill this brave great general. This is a good plan, but if Yi Hua really falls for it, wouldn't this Huang Feidy find an excuse to exploit Yi family? Right now Yishan was uncertain. I don't even want to enter the palace anymore, I don't have the mood to do so. Just what is the emperor planning to do? Is he planning to get rid of Yi Hua alone, or is he planning to get rid of Yi family? With a solemn look in his eyes, Yishan walked back. Did you see that Yi family head is having a headache? How can he not have a headache? This Chen Yuqing is our Lingdu's #1 beauty, and in the past she was also his daughter-in-law. Right now, seeing that his daughter-in-law actually married into the royal family, anyone would feel heartache for this matter. That's right, if only Yi Hua was still alive, then he would be able to clearly see this woman's true colors. In the end, she still abandoned you and threw herself into the embrace of another man. What do you all know? Chen Yuqing has always liked Yi Hua. Who knows, maybe this woman is dangling the 9th prince as a spare tire. Scum. Brother, you are very particular. Towards this marriage, everyone had different opinions. Some people felt pity for Yi Hua. If they knew about this, they would definitely jump out from their coffins. Meanwhile, in Chen family, Chen Yi had just woken up and was currently washing up. Family head, congratulations family head, congratulations family head. A few servants could be seen kneeling towards Chen Yi with a face full of excitement. Chen Yi laughed lightly, then took out some gold coins from her sleeve and sprinkled them on the ground, just like feeding a dog. What is there to congratulate? Chen Yi asked curiously. One of the servants said excitedly, Family head, the emperor has issued a decree. The 9th prince and the young lady's marriage has been approved. After hearing that, Chen Yi immediately went into a daze. She immediately helped the servant up and asked carefully, Explain it clearly. You'll be rewarded if you speak clearly. Patriarch, the emperor has already announced the marriage between the young miss and the 9th prince to the world. The servant shouted excitedly as if he was the one marrying the young Mississippi. The pleasant surprise came too quickly. Chen Yi felt a little dizzy. Ever since he became a supreme being, he had never felt so dizzy. In the end, he came today. Seeing that the family head was about to collapse, all the servants surrounded him and carefully supported him. Chen Yi suddenly laughed and threw a bag of gold coins on the ground, causing the servants to frantically scramble for them. However, outside Chen Yuqing's room, a group of maids respectfully shouted, Congratulations Mississippi. Chen Yuqing, who had just woken up, was very confused. Why did they come to congratulate her so early in the morning? Chen Yuqing opened the door and saw the maids kneeling on the ground. What's wrong? Young lady, the emperor has issued a decree. The marriage between the 9th prince and young lady will be held in 7 days. Hearing this news, Chen Yuqing did not dare to believe it. She revealed the same expression as her father, but their mentalities were completely different. Say that again. Chen Yuqing said in a low voice. The maids repeated what they said just now. Chen Yuqing felt a little dizzy. Seeing that the young miss looked like she was about to faint from happiness, the maids immediately went up to support her. The emperor has actually issued a decree. How is this possible? Could it be that the imperial cloud is begging the emperor? That must be the case. Could it be that the emperor doesn't care about anything? Just what are these people thinking? I am a married woman and there are still so many people who want to marry me, they must all be crazy. Chen Yuqing directly walked into the room and closed the door. All the maids were very puzzled. Why is the young miss angry? Such a good thing. If it were me, I would definitely faint from happiness. At this moment, Chen Yi walked over and took out a bag of gold coins and threw it on the ground. The maids still frantically scrambled for the gold coins. Yuqing, father is coming in. Chen Yi knocked on the door, then walked into the room. Right now, Chen Yuqing was lying on the bed and crying softly. When it really happened, Chen Yuqing felt very helpless. She really wanted to talk to Yi Hua and ask Yi Hua to help her, but she was already at her limit. It was so hard, so tiring. Within Yi family, Yi Hua woke up. His mood today was pretty good. After all, I know who my mother is. When the time comes, I just have to find out the cause of my death and find out who exactly was the one who killed me. I, the Supreme Overlord, have been exterminated twice in a row. Is it a problem with human nature, or is it a problem with being a person? Or is it a problem with my personality? Will there be a third extermination? If there really is such an awesome person, I, the Supreme Overlord, will be very happy. I hope that awesome person will quickly come out and compete with me. Yi Hua, who was in a pretty good mood, changed his hairstyle, and even the clothes that he was wearing changed as well. Yi Hua, who was in a pretty good mood, changed his hairstyle today, and even the clothes that he was wearing were changed as well. Yi Hua stood in front of the mirror and looked at himself. This hairstyle is still very tasteful. I look just too handsome. I really don't know how Chen Yuqing managed to chase after me in the past. I really let her take advantage of me. Wait, all of the women that I was with, all of them were only able to become my women because they were extremely lucky. I, the Supreme Overlord, am still too outstanding. I can't even hide myself anymore. Yi Hua opened the door. The air outside was very good, and the air outside was very good. As for the house that was destroyed yesterday, Yi Shan repaired it with a single spell. To an overlord it was very easy. Yi Hua decided to go out and take a walk. Since I am Yi Hua, I should let everyone know that I am back. I, the Supreme Overlord, am back. When the time comes, let's see what kind of expression that emperor will have. I'm really curious. Within Yi family servants there were a lot of old servants. When they saw Yi Hua, who was dressed in a black robe, they were all stupefied. That expression, that action, they are simply exactly the same as Yi Hua. Yi Hua felt that the gazes of these people were very interesting and very surprised. This is exactly the feeling that I wanted. Big brother? Suddenly, a voice rang out from behind Yi Hua. Yi Hua turned around to take a look. So it was that squinty-eyed guy. I don't even know what his name is. The squinty-eyed guy was naturally Yi Liangkai. When he saw his big brother's makeup today, he was even more certain that if this isn't Big Brother, then this is a ghost. What? Yi Hua asked faintly. Listening to this tone, could it be that this isn't Big Brother? This person is still that ice-cold, exactly the same as before. If this person is a scammer, then this person is definitely Big Brother's soul. After all, Big Brother's every word and every sentence is very particular, and no one is able to learn it. That Yi Jueqin learned it for over 100 years, yet he still wasn't able to learn it. End of this chapter. Chapter 990. Nothing, Yi Liangkai said softly. Yi Hua took a look at Yi Liangkai, and the latter shrunk back, appearing to be very afraid. This big brother had really changed. In the past, although his gaze was cold, there was still a trace of kinship in it. But now there was no kinship in the coldness, only a trace of killing intent. Yi Hua didn't pay attention to him, turned around and walked towards the entrance of Yi family. The attitude he displayed was like the boss of Yi family. Why did Yi Hua want to go out early in the morning? The reason was actually very simple. He wanted to go out and see what breakfast was available. After all, it was the god's realm, so the breakfast should be rich and varied. Moreover, other than eating breakfast, he also needed to let others know that he had returned. Take it as revenge for my past self. Yi Hua stood in front of Yi Hua's house, and the guards on both sides were still looking at Yi Hua with an astonished gaze. It felt so unreal. Yi Hua slowly walked down the stairs, and his outfit quickly attracted everyone's attention. A man who saw Yi Hua was already shocked to the point that he was speechless. This is. A woman who was holding her child's hand looked at Yi Hua, who was slowly walking over. Back then I was still young, but now I have become the mother of my child. Oh my God. I saw a ghost. This is Yi Hua. It can't be that Yi Jueqin is impersonating him, right? One of the men asked doubtfully. However, he was quickly refuted by a group of people. For Yi Jueqin to have this kind of expression, he can't even compare to Yi Huajun. That's right, this is the real Yi Huajun. Aren't you curious whether this is a human or a ghost? The group of girls rolled their eyes. Such a handsome guy, even if he's a ghost, I'd still recognize him. The news of Yi Hua appearing on the streets quickly spread throughout the entire Spirit City. Some people were simply running around and shouting at the top of their lungs. Well, Yi Hua is back. Everyone quickly come and take a look. Towards this kind of situation, Yi Hua appeared to be very calm and collected. This is just a small scene, and I, the Supreme Overlord, don't put it in my eyes at all. As for these women, they were no different from those women on earth. When they saw me, they wanted to offer their filthy bodies to me. They were really shameless. Am I that kind of man? However, the breakfast in this spirit capital is still nothing much. I still feel that the breakfast on earth is delicious enough. Suddenly he wanted to eat fried dough sticks and porridge. The combination of the two was a perfect match. Let's try the meat buns here first. They look pretty good. Yi Hua could be seen walking towards a meat bun shop, and when the boss saw Yi Hua walking over, his face lit up. Yi Hua-jun, you're finally back. Xiao, AI, hurry up and prepare some meat buns for Yi Hua-jun, the uncle selling meat buns said excitedly. This caused Yi Hua to be very puzzled. Your expression is a bit too exaggerated. Therefore Yi Hua waited quietly and did not have any reaction. The boss didn't seem to know what to say. Yi Hua took the 2 meat buns from the middle-aged woman and asked faintly, "How much is it?" Yi Hua-jun, there's no need for money. If it wasn't for you, Xiao Ai and I would have been chased out of Spirit Capital long ago. After listening to what Yi Hua said, Yi Hua finally understood. It seems like in the past I have always been a good person and doing good deeds. However, I, the Supreme Overlord, will never owe money when I eat. Putting things on credit is not my character. How much is it? Yi Hua asked again, and this time his tone was a bit impatient. The boss was shocked and hurriedly said, "Even if it's me, Yi Hua-jun." Yi Hua took out 2 gold coins and placed it on the table, then left. Gold coins should be the universal currency. Using 2 gold coins to exchange for 2 meat buns, who else is more extravagant than me? If you're not convinced, then feel free to argue. Following Yi Hua's reappearance on the street seemed to be surging with people. Everyone came to watch the show, causing Yi Hua to feel very awkward. They looked extremely similar to those idol-chasing people, that kind of passionate and fanatical gaze, as if with just a word from me they would abandon their lives. In the past, Yi Hua was able to bluff these commoners into becoming obedient. I'm afraid that I'm doing this to build a good foundation for myself to become an emperor. Thinking up to here, the corner of Yi Hua's mouth slightly arced up. Interesting. You have concealed yourself quite deeply. I saw through you with just a single look. Unfortunately, I was schemed against by someone else. If not, I'm afraid that you would have become an emperor by now. Not bad. I thought that you were a good person, but it turns out that your schemes aren't just ordinary. To win over the hearts of the people, to prepare to rebel against the heavens. If I didn't guess wrongly, this fellow was clearly getting married with Chen Yuqing on that day, but before the wedding ceremony was over, he ran out to fight. What kind of big matter caused him to not even have the mood to get married? From what I deduced, this fellow was precisely waiting for this opportunity. Because he knew that these people had already started to make their moves. If he was able to survive, he would have an excuse to overthrow the emperor. At that time, all of the commoners would be cheering for Yi Hua. What a pity he was still too young and was killed. If he wasn't killed, I wouldn't have appeared. Isn't it just that he wants to become an emperor? Let me think of a way it might really be possible. Are you Yi Hua-jun? A little girl could be seen standing in front of Yi Hua. The little girl raised her head and asked curiously. Yi Hua lowered his head and looked at the little girl, and discovered that the little girl looked a bit similar to Ali when she was young. Thus Yi Hua asked curiously, "What's wrong? Yi Hua-jun, follow me." The little girl seemed to be very anxious as she pulled Yi Hua and ran. Yi Hua was helpless. After all, my identity right now is the good Yi Hua who loves his people. Thus, Yi Hua temporarily put away his slightly ferocious side. Very quickly, Yi Hua was pulled to the side of the notice board. Right now, everyone was looking at Yi Hua's expression. They were very curious as to what would happen if Yi Hua saw his woman getting married to someone else. This spirit city would probably tremble 3 times. Yi Hua indeed saw it, and his pair of eyes gradually narrowed. This Chen Yuqing, to think that she said that she was infatuated with me, but it turns out that she was rushing back to get married. This is simply a joke. Everyone saw that Yi Hua's expression gradually changed, and his expression became darker and darker. Big brother. Big brother. Why did you run out? Yi Juetian finally found his big brother. This morning when he came out, he saw the news that his sister-in-law was going to get married. Thus he became anxious and hurriedly ran back. He discovered that his big brother wasn't at home, and only after he went out did he find out that his big brother had actually run out to take a stroll. If Big Brother were to find out that his sister-in-law was going to get married to the royal family, wouldn't he go crazy? Facing Yi Juetian's words, everyone once again confirmed that this was indeed Yi Hua. However, Yi Juetian's words at the end were a bit strange. It was as if Yi Hua was a lunatic and suddenly ran out. Yi Hua turned around and looked at Yi Juetian coldly. The latter was given a fright. As expected, he got angry. Yi Hua walked towards Yi Juetian and stood in front of Yi Juetian, then stretched out his hand and poked Yi Juetian's chest. "This is the good woman that you guys are talking about." Sorry, I went out to give New Year greetings today. End of this chapter. Chapter 991. After saying that, he left without looking back. He was in a bad mood. It was as if his pet was disobedient and went to eat other people's meat. What was the point of having such a pet? It was already benevolent of me to not directly cut it off. Big brother, wait a minute. Yi Juetian hurriedly chased after him. It seemed like something had happened. Big brother had just returned and the emperor had already issued an edict. This was obviously directed at Big brother. In the crowd, some men quietly left and rushed back to the palace to report the news. With a cold expression on his face, Yi Hua walked towards Yi family. Meanwhile, Yi Juetian hurriedly chased after Yi Hua and explained, "Big brother, don't be fooled, big sister-in-law is sincere towards you." Sincere? The imperial board has already been posted out, do you think it's sincere? Yi Hua said coldly. Big brother, think about it. You've just come back and the emperor has already issued an edict. There are many suspicious points in this. I guess he wants you to fight with sister-in-law. Don't be fooled. Yi Juetian was really anxious. Yesterday he was still thinking that his big brother and sister-in-law were finally together. He didn't expect things to change so quickly. Yi Hua sneered, then said in disdain, "Then this emperor has successfully fooled me." Big brother? Yi Juetian shouted helplessly. He clearly knew that it was a trap, yet he still had to act like this. Big brother, you're the emperor of the Kangluo continent, don't you know about such a scheme? There's no need to say any more, I don't have such a woman. Yi Hua said coldly. I decided to tell this matter to my mother and not to mention this Chen Yuqing anymore in the future. After walking into Yi family, Yi Hua directly walked towards his mother's room, and Yi Juetian followed closely behind him. Today Lu Jing was different from usual. She sat outside the courtyard and played the zither. Her complexion was also very good, which meant that she was in a good mood. However, when Lu Jing saw her son walking in with a gloomy face, she frowned. Her youngest son followed closely behind her with a melancholic expression. It seemed like something had happened. Yi Hua stood in front of Lu Jing. Meanwhile, Yi Juetian respectfully shouted out, "Mother." Yi Hua, what's wrong? Lu Jing nodded her head and asked Yi Hua. Yi Hua said gravely, "In the future don't mention Chen Yuqing in front of me and don't even think about marrying her." Impossible. Hearing Yi Hua's words, Lu Jing was startled. Yi Hua, what happened? Don't get too excited. Mother, His Majesty has already given the decree to betroth sister-in-law to the 9th prince. Yi Juetian added, he was also very helpless. What? Lu Jing exclaimed. Her son had just returned, and the emperor had already made such a move. It really caught her off guard. It seemed like his son was jealous. He said he didn't like it, so what was the point of being jealous now? Lu Jing held onto Yi Hua's hand and sat down, then said tenderly, Yi Hua, you must remain calm at a time like this. This is definitely not Yuqing's idea, this is the emperor's plan. Whether it's a scheme or not, this is my stance. Yi Hua said indifferently. Yi Hua seemed to have lost his rationality a bit. This was different from the Yi Hua in the past. In the past, no matter what happened, Yi Hua would not panic. Even if he had a conflict with Qingya, he would not panic. But today he looked like he was going to get a divorce and did not even give him a chance to explain. He even showed a very impulsive look, which was not up to standard. When Lu Jing saw her son's unyielding attitude, she persuaded, I know Yuqing. She would never do anything to let you down. At this point, the two of you should get through this together. I'm not interested in that, I'm going back to rest. Yi Hua said faintly, then turned around and left. Yi Hua. Lu Jing stood up and called out to Yi Hua. However, Yi Hua was the one who left. Seeing Yi Hua leave angrily, Lu Jing let out a light sigh. Little Tian, your big brother is currently in a fit of anger. Don't tell Yuqing about this, okay? And mother, I understand. Of course, Yi Juetian knew what his mother meant. She was afraid that his big brother would say something hurtful. After all, sister-in-law must be in a lot of pain now. If she was hurt by big brother and couldn't figure it out, what would happen? Right now, Yi Juetian was following behind Yi Hua. Even if Yi Hua were to walk into the house, Yi Juetian would still follow after Yi Hua. However, towards such a situation, Yi Hua did not stop them. However, in the Chen family, Chen Yuqing was already done grieving. Chen Yi comforted her for a long time but to no avail, so she left. Miss, your health is important. You should eat something. A maid standing on the side said respectfully. Chen Yuqing hadn't eaten anything yet, but it didn't matter to the gods. Chen Yuqing sat on the bed in a daze, thinking about how to get rid of this engagement. Miss. The maid seemed like she wanted to say something, but she was afraid. Chen Yuqing came back to her senses and said faintly, If you have something to say, just say it. It's like this, miss, I heard from those servants that Yihua came back today. The maid lowered her head and said, Yihua came back? Chen Yuqing didn't react for a moment. Yes, miss, a lot of people saw him on the streets today. Chen Yuqing finally reacted and immediately stood up, then asked excitedly, Yihua came back? Yes, miss. Looking at the smiling expression on the miss's face, the maid was a bit worried. Chen Yuqing was overjoyed. Yihua really came back, this is great, Yihua still likes me. This bad fellow, I even hugged him that day and he still placed me back to where I was. I have never seen such a stupid man before. Under normal circumstances at that time I should have carried him into the house and then, thinking about those embarrassing things, Chen Yuqing's face became a bit red. What am I thinking about, I really have to give it to him. Miss? The maid couldn't help but ask. Miss, you can't have gotten sick, right? Chen Yuqing hurriedly retracted her happy smile. Leave it here, you can go out first. All right, miss. The maid said respectfully. After the maid left, Chen Yuqing ate a bit of the food, then let the maid carry the food out, then went to the secret passage. Of course she was going to look for Yihua. Inside Yihua's room. The two brothers were currently drinking and playing. To be more precise, Yi Jueqin was accompanying his big brother to drink. Who was the one who suggested drinking? Of course, it was Yihua who suggested it, just like how he himself was unhappy. Big brother, sister-in-law is a good woman, don't misunderstand her. Yi Jueqin still couldn't help but advise. Very much like love. Yihua snorted coldly. Yi Jueqin was confused, what does this mean? The two of them drank until their faces and ears were red, and the smell of alcohol filled the room. However, at this moment, the floor suddenly made a sound, and the two brothers immediately looked over. A beautiful woman could be seen crawling out from the secret passage. Chen Yuqing finally saw Yihua, he really came. All of this is real, this is great. Tears of joy could be seen flowing down Chen Yuqing's face as she ran towards Yihua, seemingly wanting to give Yihua a big hug. However, Yihua's face sunk as he stretched out his hand and pushed Chen Yuqing away. Scram. End of this chapter. Chapter 992. Chen Yuqing, who was caught off guard, was pushed down. Yi Jueqin was stupefied. Big brother, isn't this too merciless? Chen Yuqing was stupefied as well. Yihua actually pushed me away and even said, scram. Yihua's face did not have any unnecessary expression, as if the person who was pushed down just now was an enemy, and he did not have any feeling of shame at all. Yi Jueqin was the first to react, and he hurriedly walked to the front of Chen Yuqing. Sister-in-law, are you all right? Right now, Chen Yuqing was very confused. It has been 1,000 years since we last met, and now that we finally met again, she was pushed away by Yihua fiercely. I have imagined many scenes of us meeting each other, but I have never imagined such a scene. Yihua did not pay attention to Chen Yuqing, who was at the side, and silently looked at the cup of water, seemingly thinking about something. Yi Jueqin helped Chen Yuqing up and he did not know what to say. In the end he still said in a low voice, sister-in-law, big brother knew about it, that's why he got angry. This explanation was still very useful, at least it let Chen Yuqing know why Yihua got angry. So it was because of marriage. Chen Yuqing lightly walked to Yihua's back and looked at this familiar back view. It was exactly the same as before, there was no change at all. However, right now when she really saw it, she did not know what to say anymore. Her mood was exceptionally agitated, nervous, hesitant, and all sorts of other emotions were added together. Yihua, it is not what you think, I did not do anything to let you down, I did not let anyone else touch me. In order to explain clearly, Chen Yuqing threw caution to the wind. Men naturally did not wish for their women to be touched by other men. It has nothing to do with me. Yihua said coldly. However, this coldness was just like a sharp blade that was chopping onto Chen Yuqing's heart. Yi Jueqin hurriedly said, Big brother, this is definitely the emperor's plot. He knew that you had returned, and thus he was afraid, and thus wanted to use this kind of method to stimulate you. Chen Yuqing stood behind Yihua, feeling wronged. I didn't expect that this kind of misunderstanding would occur during our first meeting. Don't say so much, just go and marry whoever you want to marry, do as you wish. After hearing that, Chen Yuqing bit onto her lips tightly, and tears flowed down her cheeks uncontrollably. After so many years of hard work, at this moment I actually obtained this kind of ending. Big brother, how can you say that about sister-in-law? Eldest sister-in-law has done so many things for mother. If it wasn't for eldest sister-in-law, mother wouldn't have been able to live for so long. Even if eldest sister-in-law is going to marry into the imperial family, it's also for mother. Why can't you understand eldest sister-in-law's bitter conscience? Why did Yi Juetian feel that his big brother was still the same as before? Yi Hua's tone was still indifferent. Mother's problem, I am able to solve it myself, there is no need for others to do it for me. Big brother, sister-in-law is one of us, how can she be someone else? Yi Juetian was very confused. Why did he have to say such hurtful words? Chen Yuqing lightly pressed onto Yi Hua's arm. Yi Hua, Yuqing is really not that kind of woman. Yi Hua struggled away from Chen Yuqing's hand. What kind of woman you are, it has nothing to do with me now. I think I have already said it very clearly. I won't marry him, I will listen to everything you say, okay? Chen Yuqing begged. As long as Yi Hua didn't get angry, she was willing to do anything. Yi Hua said gravely, Chen Yuqing, there is no relationship between you and me anymore. You don't need to listen to me and I don't want to see you. Scram. Hearing that Yi Hua told her to scram again, Chen Yuqing's tears flowed even more fiercely. Why did it turn out like this? Chen Yuqing held onto her face and left through the secret passage. Her heart was completely broken by Yi Hua. Yi Juetian looked at his big brother, then looked at his sister-in-law who was leaving. He didn't know who he should persuade. Yesterday they had clearly agreed that big brother and sister-in-law were going to be together again and continue their former fate. However, right now, where is there even a need to continue their former fate? There is basically no such thing. However, right at this moment, Yi Chen's voice rang out from outside. Big brother, His Majesty has sent a decree. Yi Hua immediately stood up and opened the door. Yi Chen, who was standing outside, immediately took a step back and slightly lowered his head, feeling very fearful. Right now, it is better for me not to provoke big brother, lest I end up like my father being tossed around by big brother. Although it doesn't hurt, my face hurts a lot. Yi Hua didn't say anything and walked towards the main hall. Yi Chen took a look at Yi Juetian who was in the main hall, then hurriedly followed after Yi Hua. Yi Juetian hurriedly followed after Yi Hua. The emperor is truly anxious to think of ways to get rid of big brother right now. Furthermore, he is going to start from big sister-in-law first. As expected of the emperor. Arriving at the main hall, Yi Hua saw Yi Shan, his mother Lu Jing and a few brothers. Of course there was also their mother. Compared to his mother they were indeed much more mature. His mother seemed to have aged a lot, but the reason for this was because she missed her main body too much. In the future I will slowly nurse my body back to health. When Yi Shan saw Yi Hua walking over, he didn't have a good expression on his face. As for the two women who were standing at the side, the plump one was called Renyu, she was Yi Chen and Yi Yuanqing's birth mother. The other one was rather skinny, but she didn't lose her beauty. After all, she was Yi Shan's woman, and Yi Shan's standards were also very high. She was called Su Peiyu, she was Yi Liangkai and Yi Zhi's birth mother. When the two saw Yi Hua's appearance, they were a bit in disbelief. Last night, Yi family had been in an uproar, scaring them to the point that they couldn't sleep well. This morning they heard that Yi Hua had returned. Didn't he die? Why did he return? Now that he has returned, what kind of status does my son have? Why did he return? Why? It seems like other than Lu Jing and Yi Juetian, everyone in Yi family did not wish for Yi Hua to return. There was a eunuch standing in the main hall and right now he was sizing up Yi Hua. As the eunuch that served the emperor, he had to have a pair of eyes that looked at people. How could he let him forget that back then Yi Hua was the rising star of spiritual city, and even the emperor had to welcome him with a smile. However, Yi Hua's current expression was exactly the same as back then, there wasn't any difference at all. The eunuch felt that this shouldn't be fake. This kind of expression and temperament wasn't something that anyone could imitate. Just take this Yi Juetian for example, even if he wanted to imitate Yi Hua, he wouldn't be able to imitate Yi Hua at all. Prince Yi. The eunuch shouted towards Yi Hua. Yi Hua looked at this transvestite just like that, and he really wished that he could slap that high-pitched duck's voice to death. Towards how the eunuch addressed him, everyone in Yi family was very surprised. Prince. This was a very awesome title. To be able to become a prince, that meant that one would be at the same level as the emperor's relative. It seems like the emperor still fulfilled the promise he made back then and really conferred the title of prince to Yi Hua. How could the emperor not acknowledge it? After all, he had already said it in front of so many people. If he were to deny it now, wouldn't he be laughed at by others? He couldn't afford to lose face like this. The eunuch looked at Yi Hua's expression. As expected, it is the same as back then. Chapter 993. When His Majesty learned that Prince Yi had survived the calamity, he was overjoyed and said that Prince Yi would return sooner or later. Sure enough, His Majesty has issued an edict to invite Prince Yi to a banquet tonight for the whole country to celebrate. After the eunuch finished speaking, he waited for Yi Hua to say some words of thanks. However, Yi Hua remained standing there without moving, and there wasn't any expression on his face at all. I reckon that the news of the marriage was released this morning. His Majesty's hand is truly brilliant. Yi Hua was angered to the point that his expression changed, and he didn't even know what to say anymore. Seeing that Yi Hua did not move, Yi Shan hurriedly kneeled down and thanked Yi Hua. When Yi Shan knelt down, everyone else hurriedly knelt down as well. Of course, Yi Hua was the only exception. I don't even kneel to the heavens, so why would I kneel to a eunuch? What kind of joke was this? Even if the emperor comes, I won't give a damn about him. Unfilial son, why aren't you kneeling down and thanking me? Yi Shan wished that he could slap Yi Hua to death. This Yi family is going to perish in Yi Hua's hands sooner or later. Yi Hua lowered his head and looked towards his biological father, and the latter immediately turned his head away. This unfilial son of mine is so awesome now, to actually hit me just because I don't get along with him. He would definitely be struck by lightning in the future. I curse you, unfilial son. At this time, the eunuch smiled and said, Lord Yi, His Majesty has long said that Prince Yi doesn't need to salute. Indeed, after Yi Hua's death, the emperor had said such words. At this moment, Yi Shan was speechless. This time, the emperor obviously wants to get rid of Yi Hua. I can only hope that when the time comes, the entire Yi family will not be implicated. He was a jinx who would bring harm to people wherever he went. Prince Yi, I shall not disturb you any further. The eunuch bowed slightly and smiled before leaving the Yi clan. Yi Hua didn't expect that the emperor was so anxious to actually take action so quickly. The Yi Hua of the past was so hateful. After her father-in-law left, Li Jing said softly, Yi Hua, come with mother. Mother has something to tell you. Yi Hua nodded his head, then followed his mother and walked out of the main hall. Yi Jueqian hurriedly left the main hall as well. I belong to Big Brother's faction and I don't fit in with them. Even if Big Brother pierced through the sky, little brother will advance and retreat together with Big Brother. Husband, is he really Yi Hua? Ren Yu asked in a low voice, appearing to be very worried. Yi Shan nodded and sat beside him. Su Peiyu served a pot of tea to Yi Shan. Isn't this Yi Hua dead? How did he come back to life? Su Peiyu asked in a low voice, feeling extremely puzzled. How would I know? Yi Shan shouted in a low voice. He was also very annoyed. Things were originally calm and peaceful, but now something had happened. Moreover, it was such a big matter. Just thinking about it made his blood boil. Seeing that their husband was a little angry, Renyu and Su Peiyu stopped talking. Husband, when will Yuan Qing come back? Renyu asked. With such a change in the family, he should come back to take a look. Yi Shan sipped his tea. Yuan Qing should be able to rush back in the afternoon. When Yi Chen heard that his second sister was returning, he felt somewhat happy in his heart. He had not seen his second sister for more than 10 years already. After all, Yi Yuanqing and Yi Chen were siblings. Naturally, they had a good relationship. Right now, Yi Yuanqing could be considered to be the highest-ranking official in Yi family. She was also the only female general of spiritual capital. She was always fighting outside and was a tough woman. Meanwhile, the relationship between Yi Yuanqing and Yi Hua was just average. It wasn't very good, but it wasn't very bad either. Yi Yuanqing's relationship with Yi Hua was not like the other brothers who were all jealous of Yi Hua's excellence. Yi Yuanqing wanted to prove that he was more outstanding than his big brother and was able to carry the banner of Yi family. On the other side, Li Jing brought Yi Hua to her own courtyard. Little Tian, I want to talk to your big brother. Yi Jueqian nodded his head gloomily. Right now, I am not even allowed to listen to my big brother's words. The mother and son walked to a stone table at the side. Yi Hua, sit. Yi Hua slowly sat down and Li Jing poured 2 cups of tea for him. Li Jing had thought about it carefully just now and decided to give her son a reminder. Regardless of whether her son was willing to listen or not, this was a reminder that a mother should give. Yi Hua, you should know that His Majesty is very biased against you. In the past, when something happened to you, it is very likely that the emperor arranged it. Li Jing had long felt that the matter back then wasn't simple, but she wasn't sure. However, since the emperor announced the marriage announcement in the morning, it is very likely that it was done by him. Yi Hua did not say anything after hearing what Li Jing said. Even without Li Jing saying anything, he had already thought of this point. Furthermore, in the past, Yi Hua wanted to usurp the throne. Do you think that I, the Supreme Overlord, don't know about it? Not only did you deceive everyone, you even deceived a foolish young lady to love you without any regrets. I reckon that Chen Yuqing is also a chess piece in your hands, right? Otherwise, on the day of your wedding, before the wedding ceremony even ended, you already wanted to send your head to someone else. If it is true love, then the ceremony should have already ended, right? If that is the case, the emperor's eyesight is still very bright. If that is the case, doesn't that mean that I, the supreme overlord, am a scapegoat? I, the supreme overlord. Thinking about it, this is indeed the case. Yi Hua, when you returned last night, that sky-bearing empire definitely told the news to the emperor. The emperor announced the marriage announcement early in the morning. It is impossible for you to not know the reason behind it, right? The emperor is just looking for an excuse to continue getting rid of you. The more Li Jing spoke, the more scared she became. Accompanying a monarch is like accompanying a tiger. This sentence is not wrong. When the emperor is happy, you are a popular person, but when the emperor is angry, you are a dead person. A person's life and death is in the hands of the emperor, and the emperor can do whatever he wants to do. Tonight, the emperor is hosting a banquet. No matter how angry you are, do not get angry. If you beat up Yi Shan, no one will say anything, but if you beat up a member of the royal family, then it will be troublesome. In short, do not give the emperor an excuse to kill you. Do you understand? Li Jing advised painstakingly. She felt that Yi Hua's appearance was not a good thing. If I knew this would happen, I would have let Yi Hua be an emperor and not interfere with the matters of the higher-ups. After hearing that, Yi Hua nodded his head. If I, the supreme overlord, am unable to even deduce this point, then what am I supposed to be doing? Regarding Yuqing's matter, you don't have to take it to heart, it is all the emperor's doing. Yi Hua did not say anything. Maintaining silence was the glorious tradition of the Golden Family. Alright, that is all that mother has to say. Prepare for the banquet properly. Mother will prepare supper and wait for you to return. Li Jing held onto her son's hand and said with a slight smile. Her gaze was filled with doting. This kind of gaze, Yi Hua would never get tired of it because this kind of gaze has never appeared before. Not even Qinya and Donghuang Baiji have this kind of feeling. In the entire 3,000 worlds, only mother alone is able to make me feel a different kind of warmth. Seems like I have come to the right place this time. Yi Hua walked out of the courtyard, and Yi Jueqian, who was standing at the side, hurriedly chased after Yi Hua. Big brother, what did mother say? She just told me to be careful. Yi Hua said faintly. Big brother, you have to be careful. You also have to go and comfort sister-in-law. Yi Hua did not say anything and walked towards his room. Chapter 994. This time, Yi Jueqian still decided to go over and see how big sister-in-law was doing. This big brother is muddle-headed. I have to go and explain to him to prevent sister-in-law from becoming mentally and physically exhausted. If she really ends up marrying Huang Yun, it would be over. Why are you following me? Yi Hua asked faintly. Big brother, I am going to look for big sister-in-law. Why are you looking for her? Big brother, could it be that you have the heart to watch big sister-in-law marry another man? Yi Jueqian was puzzled. In the past, big brother was rather overbearing. Yi Hua snorted. None of my business. Big brother, just continue to be stubborn. I want to see how long big brother can be stubborn for. After finished speaking, Yi Jueqian walked away angrily. When Yi Hua returned to his room, he discovered that Yi Jueqian had long entered the secret passageway. Not long later, Yi Jueqian arrived at Chen Yuqing's room. The first thing he did was to knock on the door. Chen Yuqing was currently crying loudly on the bed, and she was unable to stop crying at all. I have done so many things for Yi Hua, but in the end Yi Hua hurt me deeply, and even said that he doesn't want me anymore and even told me to scram. Yi Jueqian knocked for a long time but no one came over. Thus, he carefully pried open the door and took a look, and a choking sound rang out in his mind. Yi Jueqian hurriedly crawled out and looked at his big sister-in-law who was lying on the bed. Sister-in-law, calm down. Yi Jueqian walked behind Chen Yuqing and consoled her. With someone consoling her, Chen Yuqing cried even more fiercely. Yi Jueqian had no way of dealing with girls crying. He could only forcefully explain, Sister-in-law, you have to think about why big brother is provoking you. What? Chen Yuqing asked while choking with sobs. That sobbing sound made one's heart ache. This kind of woman, there is actually a man who made her angry. Is it because you have too many goddesses in your family? If you have the ability, give me one as well. Big brother is protecting you and not letting you get involved in this mess. Yi Jueqian said blindly. Just now, he had a flash of inspiration. Saying it like that doesn't seem to be wrong, right? Hearing Yi Jueqian's words, Chen Yuqing immediately stopped crying and asked seriously, is it true? Chen Yuqing would rather believe such a lie than Yi Hua's heartlessness. Sister-in-law, think about it. The Emperor is obviously targeting Big Brother, and he's using you to mess things up. Big Brother will feel sorry for you, so he's acting very fierce to let the Emperor know that Big Brother doesn't matter now. After Yi Jueqin said that, he felt that it was still alright. It couldn't be that Big Bro was real, right? It was as though he was speaking the truth. After Qian Yuqing heard this, she furrowed her eyebrows and thought about it carefully. She felt that what Yi Jueqin said was very correct. It was exactly like this. Idiot, you used such a method to protect Yuqing, and Yuqing actually believed it. You bad guy, you tricked Yuqing into crying as soon as you came back. I'll ignore you from now on. Seeing that his sister-in-law wasn't sad anymore, Yi Jueqin felt relieved. You see, Big Brother and sister-in-law still need me, the younger brother, to deal with this kind of thing? You guys are really worrisome. Xiao Tian, I understand, I will cooperate with Yi Hua. Since she knew that Yi Hua said those words for her sake, she would definitely not waste Yi Hua's painstaking efforts. Cooperate? Yi Jueqin was a bit stupefied. Sister-in-law, what are you going to cooperate with Big Brother for? Can't you be more clear about it? I'm a bit confused. However, right at this moment, footsteps rang out from outside. Yuqing, are you there? This was the voice of Qian Yuqing's father. Yi Jueqin was startled. Qian Yuqing pointed at the bottom of the bed. Yi Jueqin had no other choice. Last time, I hid under the table and now I have to hide under the bed. Why is it that the one who gets hurt is always me, Yi Jueqin? Big brother, little brother has done so many things for you, you have to introduce a beauty to little brother. Little brother definitely has good looks compared to those subordinates of yours, can you introduce one or two of them to little brother? Father, please come in. Qian Yuqing called out lightly. Qian Yi opened the door and walked in. Seeing that her daughter's eyes were red, her heart ached. Yuqing, cheer up, this is fate. Qian Yi clearly knew that Yi Hua didn't die and she was very astonished. No wonder the Emperor thought things through, so it was all because of Yi Hua's return. My own daughter actually became a bargaining chip in their game of chess. Qian Yuqing rubbed her red and swollen eyes and said lightly, Father, I know that this is Yuqing's fate. Yi Hua had just returned and His Majesty had already given the decree, what else can Yuqing do? Yuqing, my daughter. Qian Yi was also very distressed. My beloved man has returned and yet he made such a move and became a bargaining chip in their game of chess. As a father, how can I not be distressed? Yi Jueqin, who was hiding under the bedside. Sister-in-law's lies are pretty good. This woman seems like she has a talent for acting. As long as she wants to speak, she would be able to come up with all kinds of lies. Qian Yuqing didn't even know how she was acting, and with a trace of despair she said, Father, Yuqing is already so big, you have to think for father's sake. If Yuqing were to oppose this marriage, father would be pushed aside. Yuqing doesn't want to be the sinner of Qian family. Qian Yi held onto her daughter's hands and tears flowed down from her eyes. Yuqing, father has let you down. Seeing that her father was actually crying, Qian Yuqing felt a bit guilty in her heart. I will just apologize to my father in the future. Yuqing, just now, His Majesty sent someone over to pass down an order. Tonight he is going to invite Yi Hua, and your identity will be Huang Yun's fiancé, do you understand? Hearing what her father said, Qian Yuqing was still shocked in her heart. I'm actually going to be Huang Yun's fiancé? Seems like His Majesty's main purpose is to make Yi Hua angry and make Yi Hua lose face. I really didn't expect that His Majesty was going to give Yi Hua a feast at Hongmen tonight. Yi Jueqin, who was hiding under the bed, knew that that eunuch was definitely the first to come to Yi family, and then to come to Qian family. Yuqing, I know what you are thinking in your heart, but right now there is no other way. You have to be clear about your own position. Although Yi Hua is a prince right now, he is still a prince without any real power. If he were to do anything, the emperor would definitely take action. Qian Yi was a sensible person and she knew the pros and cons of this matter. To be more precise, everyone in Spiritual City knew that the current Yi Hua was a god of plague, and whoever came into contact with him would die. To be frank, no one dared to come into contact with Yi Hua, and those who came into contact with Yi Hua would become everyone's enemy. Qian Yuqing nodded her head. Father, you can be at ease. After so many years have passed, I have already thought things through. After hearing what her father said, Qian Yi felt very gratified. As expected of my daughter, she is finally sensible and obedient. After marrying Huang Yun, she will also be like an empress. No matter how I think about it, marrying Huang Yun right now is the most suitable choice. This might be my daughter's destiny. Chapter 995. Qian Yi let out a breath and patted her daughter's shoulder. Yuqing, have a good rest. Dress up tonight and enter the palace with father. Qian Yuqing lightly bit her lips and nodded. Qian Yi let out another sigh and walked out of the room. Seeing that her father had left, Qian Yuqing also let out a breath of relief. Little Tian, you can come out now. Yi Jueqian crawled out from under the bed with a face full of melancholy. Sister-in-law, I will be going back first. Qian Yuqing nodded her head. She would rather believe that Yi Hua did it to protect her than to believe that Yi Hua really told her to scram. Just thinking about it made her feel warm in her heart. At this moment, inside the palace, Emperor Huang Feidi was currently listening to the report of his eunuch. Do you think that this Yi Hua is the Yi Hua from back then? Huang Feidi stood beside the window and looked at the garden outside as he asked softly. Your Majesty, this old servant thinks that this is the Yi Hua from back then. The eunuch lowered his head and said respectfully. Huang Feidi nodded his head. This eunuch had followed me for close to 10,000 years. This kind of judgment is trustworthy. Furthermore, tonight I will be able to see if this Yi Hua is real or fake and if I can make an issue out of this. By the way, how is his reaction today? Huang Feidi asked faintly. Your Majesty, Yi Hua's reaction today seems to be filled with anger. Hearing that, Huang Feidi laughed lightly. It's good that he is angry. If he isn't angry, then he wouldn't be called Yi Hua. Your Majesty is wise. The eunuch seized the opportunity to flatter Huang Feidi. Alright, you can go and prepare first. I heard that Yi Yuanqing is coming back today, and I intend to give her a surprise. Huang Feidi said with a strange smile. The eunuch was actually very curious about what kind of surprise it was, but he didn't dare to ask. Yes. This old servant will take his leave. After the eunuch left, Huang Feidi said softly, Yi Hua, isn't your life quite good outside? Why did you come back to suffer? Or do you want to die again? The entire palace was decorated with lanterns and colored banners, preparing for the banquet at night. Not only in the palace, the entire spiritual capital was the same. Every single household actually hung up a red lantern, seemingly as if they were celebrating Yi Hua's return. This kind of reputation is simply unparalleled. Even the current royal cloud couldn't do this. Once again, it showed that Yi Hua was already deeply rooted in the hearts of the people. At this moment, in the tea house of spiritual capital, everyone was discussing and gossiping. Seemingly, everyone was discussing how Yi Hua was able to survive, and what was his purpose for coming back this time. Did you guys hear? Lord Yi has lost his memory now. He has forgotten everything in the past. Really? Did he lose his memory? I heard that Lord Yi was very angry when he saw that Chen Yuqing was going to marry the 9th prince. At this moment, a man in a green cloak said, This is really disappointing. Brother, what do you think? The green-cloaked man said with a trace of worry, To think that I, Prince Yi, got rid of evil for the people 1,000 years ago, and only then did I manage to obtain the peaceful spiritual city that we have today. Yet, the only woman that I deeply loved, yet, when I returned she married someone else. Isn't this making the soldiers bitterly disappointed? But I heard that both parties agreed on this. The green-cloaked man said in a low voice, Is Qian Yuqing that kind of woman? After finished speaking, the green-cloaked man walked out of the tea house. However, everyone in the tea house was thinking about the question from just now, and the more they thought about it, the more they felt that was the case. This Lord Yi is truly pitiful. He just came back and his wife is going to marry someone else. That's right, and it was even the emperor who personally gave the decree. Does this count as snatching away his wife's love? Seems like the emperor doesn't treat Lord Yi as well as we thought. Shoo, if you say this softly, if someone were to hear it, your head would be chopped off. And thank you for your reminder, brother. However, this kind of topic was still very popular and even spread out. Everyone was discussing about it. Of course, there was also the matter of what was going to happen during tonight's banquet. This truly made everyone curious. Right now, Yi Hua was thinking about the question. Hearing the sound of the floorboard, Yi Jueqian slowly crawled out. Big brother, I have returned. Yi Jueqian was already at ease. Sister-in-law had already been coaxed to be happy, and there was no need for her to be angry or not. After hearing that, Yi Hua didn't say anything. Yi Jueqian looked at his big brother's expression, then let out a deep sigh. Big brother, do you know what sister-in-law was doing when I went over just now? Yi Hua still didn't say anything, but Yi Jueqian discovered that his big brother wanted to ask, but was too embarrassed to ask. Sister-in-law actually, she's at, forget it, it's better that I don't say it in case big brother gets sad after hearing it. Yi Hua, no matter what you say, I won't be interested. Yi Hua said indifferently. Yi Juetian said in a low voice, "Big brother, if I was a step late just now, sister-in-law would have died." Big brother, sister-in-law committed suicide by hanging herself. Yi Hua laughed lightly. Deity committing suicide by hanging herself? Can't you be a bit more realistic when you are lying? Big brother, it's the truth. Sister-in-law no longer has any hope to continue living anymore. Big brother, if you tell sister-in-law to scram, sister-in-law will feel that she has completely scram, so as to not let big brother's eyes feel uncomfortable. Are you done speaking? Big brother, sister-in-law said that if you are willing, she will elope with you. Yi Hua drank a mouthful of tea, and felt that it wasn't as good as Daji's tea. Big brother, are you even listening to what I'm saying? Not at all. Yi Juetian was at his wit's end. I already said that sister-in-law is in such a miserable state, but big brother actually doesn't feel a bit of heartache? This isn't a good sign. Big brother, let's not talk about other things first. During the banquet tonight you must be calm, don't lose your temper and don't hit people. In actuality what Yi Juetian wanted to say was, don't hit father just because you don't agree with him, this will make father lose a lot of face. Yi Hua said faintly, I am looking forward to the banquet, it should be very interesting, right? Yi Juetian was puzzled. Why is my big brother so calm? In the past he was like this and now he is still like this. This kind of temperament is simply impossible to learn. Seems like I won't be able to surpass big brother in this lifetime. At noon Yi Hua and Yi Juetian went to their mother's courtyard, because their mother had personally cooked some delicious dishes. When Lu Jing saw that her two sons were accompanying her to eat, she felt as happy as she could be. I feel that I don't even need to continue drinking the divine spring anymore. Yi Hua, remember not to get angry tonight. As a mother, Lu Jing had no choice but to repeatedly remind Yi Hua. After hearing that, Yi Hua didn't feel that Lu Jing was long-winded, rather he felt that Lu Jing was very warm, and thus he nodded his head. Chapter 996. Regarding tonight's banquet, there is absolutely nothing to be afraid of. I, the Supreme Overlord, have experienced all sorts of situations before. This emperor wants to play with my brain? Sure. I'll take it. He liked people who weren't afraid of death. Who would have thought that something like this would happen on this trip? It was a good way to kill some time. Yuqing didn't have a choice. Yi Hua, don't blame others, okay? Lu Jing said attentively. Yi Juetian also persuaded, that's right, big brother, it's not easy for big sister-in-law. Hearing that, Yi Hua remained silent, causing Lu Jing and Yi Juetian to not know what Yi Hua's attitude was. However, at this moment, a beautiful figure appeared at the door. This woman was wearing a velvet armor. Her face was exquisite, and her figure was hot. She belonged to the type that had voluptuous breasts and was full of heroic spirit. There was also a beauty mole. This was the second son of the Yi clan, Yi Yuanqing. It had to be said that all the children of the Yi family were handsome. None of them looked bad. Although Yi Yuanqing was a woman, her achievements were the best in the Yi family. Of course, when Yi Hua wasn't around he was ranked first, and his position was even higher than his father's. Others have to call him General Yi honestly. Yi Hua looked towards Yi Yuanqing who was standing at the entrance of the courtyard. I feel that Yi Yuanqing is not bad, at least he is much stronger than the others. Yi Yuanqing also looked towards Yi Hua, and disbelief could be seen in her beautiful eyes. Big brother is actually still alive. I thought he was joking. That's impossible, isn't it? But now that the truth was right in front of him, he had no choice but to believe it. Yi Yuanqing took a deep breath and walked over. Her steps were sonorous and powerful, showing off the domineering aura of a tomboy. Her armor rubbed against each other, making her look very dignified. Aunt Lu, Yi Yuanqing greeted respectfully. Lu Jing looked at Yi Yuanqing with a smile. Yi Yuanqing was the one she didn't dislike the most among these children. Yuanqing, sit down and eat with us. Yi Yuanqing didn't stand on ceremony and nodded. Yi Juetian stood up and still obediently called out, second sister. Little Tian. Yi Yuanqing smiled and called out. Afterward, Yi Hua looked towards Yi Hua and shouted out respectfully, big brother. After hearing that, Yi Hua didn't make a sound as if the other person wasn't calling out to him. Yi Juetian winked at Yi Yuanqing, then pointed at his own head. Yi Yuanqing felt that Yi Juetian was saying that his big brother's brain was stuck in a door. Big brother, how have you been all these years? Yi Yuanqing, who sat down, asked curiously. Just like Yi Juetian, Yi Yuanqing had viewed Yi Hua as his idol since young. Yi Juetian wanted to become a man like his big brother, but Yi Yuanqing was different, she wanted to surpass her big brother. Yi Hua said faintly, I'm all right. Yi Yuanqing felt that his big brother was the same as before and there was no difference at all. However, this was a familiar feeling. If his big brother had become a mischievous person like Yi Juetian, he would have been disappointed. This kind of big brother gave people a sense of deterrence. Yuanqing, you haven't been home for so many years. How are you over there? Lu Jing asked with concern. After Yi Hua died, Yi Yuanqing took over Yi Hua's position. However, Yi Yuanqing was a bald general and did not have any soldiers under him. However, after developing for so long, Yi Yuanqing relied on himself and developed his own subordinates. Right now, Yi Yuanqing was guarding the borders and protecting this piece of land. Anilu, the border is doing very well. It has been very peaceful in recent years, said Yi Yuanqing gently. That's good. Actually, your mother hopes that you can get married as soon as possible and not fight and kill like a boy. Anilu, I will consider it. Towards Yi Yuanqing's words, Lu Jing wouldn't believe them. This lady seems to be planning to stay single for the rest of her life. Second sister, now that you are back, father will definitely arrange another blind date for you. Yi Juetian couldn't help but tease. In this generation of Yi family, there hasn't been anyone who got married yet. Of course, other than Big Brother, there hasn't been anyone who got married yet. Yi Yuanqing said with a joking tone, if you aren't afraid of my fists, you can come and give it a try. Second sister, you are so awesome. Little Tian, you aren't young anymore, why haven't I seen you looking for someone? Auntie Lu must be very anxious right now. From the looks of it, Yi Yuanqing's mood today was still pretty good to be able to joke around. One must know that the Yi Yuanqing in the past wouldn't be like this. Lu Jing laughed helplessly, sigh, I still want to carry a grandson. Mother, when the time comes, let Big Brother introduce some to me. Back then I saw quite a few beauties. Even now, Yi Juetian was still thinking about Yi Hua's subordinates. Lu Jing said with a teasing tone, Yi Hua, as the big brother, you have to take a good look at your little brother. Yi Hua nodded his head. This little brother of mine actually has his eyes on my subordinates, this is a bit interesting. Among my subordinates, there don't seem to be many who are single. I wonder if Yi Zizi is willing to have a chat with me? Probably not, Yi Zizi belongs to that kind of clan that doesn't get married. All the other subordinates seem to already have men. Big brother, do you have any plans this time? Yi Yuanqing asked curiously. Nothing much, I just want to take a look. When Yi Hua just came over, he indeed didn't have any plans. However, it was different now. Since the other party had already made a move, I definitely wouldn't back down. Then big sister-in-law? Yi Hua said indifferently, I have 3 wives right now. Yi Yuanqing cried out in surprise. Big brother doesn't look like that kind of fickle man, and yet he actually has 3 wives right now. My God. I have truly underestimated Big Brother. Yi Juetian gave Yi Yuanqing a meaningful glance, telling him not to mention Chen Yuqing. Yi Yuanqing, who was rushing back home, didn't know about the marriage news yet. However, he would know about it later. Yi Hua said calmly, as for the big sister-in-law that you all are talking about, let her marry into the royal family and fulfill her wish. After hearing that, Yi Yuanqing had a puzzled look on his face. How is it possible for big sister-in-law to marry into the royal family? Lu Jing and Yi Juetian sighed helplessly. This Yi Hua's ability to get jealous is too great, right? He is simply the king of jealousy. In the past, he was even called the king of jealousy in the cultivation world by Qinya. Yi Juetian added, second big sister, just this morning, His Majesty had already given the decree to betroth big sister-in-law to the 9th prince. Impossible. In the past. Yi Yuanqing stopped speaking here. In the past was in the past, right now is the present. His Majesty is definitely making an issue out of big sister-in-law. From the looks of it, Big Brother's return this time didn't make the Emperor happy at all. Big Brother, you have to be careful. Yi Yuanqing said concernedly. Yi Hua felt that this brotherly affection isn't bad. A biological younger brother's concern, and a half-sister who shares the same father but has a different mother. The emotions of humans sure are mysterious, and it makes me feel rather happy. Should I give the world an amnesty? Yi Hua nodded his head. Maintaining his usual style, speak less and do more. Yuanqing, after you finish eating, go back and visit mother, your mother misses you a lot. Aunt Lu, I understand. Yi Yuanqing said respectfully. Chapter 997. The meal lasted for half an hour and they even drank a little wine in the middle. Lu Jing was also very happy. If her daughter-in-law was here, it would be even more perfect. In the afternoon, Yi Hua lay in his room and slept. He He was thinking about what to do at night. How should I play to be cool? It's a pity that there's no one to play with me. While thinking, Yi Hua actually fell asleep, and it was a very dead kind of sleep. Not knowing how long had passed, a hurried knocking sound rang out from outside the door. Big brother. Big brother. Are you there? This was the sound of Yi Yuanqing knocking on the door. Yi Hua, who was lying on the bed, squinted his eyes and saw that the day outside had already turned into night. I'm here. Yi Hua replied. Big brother, we are going to set off. All right. Yi Hua sat up. He was still wearing a black robe. There was no change to it. When I was on Earth, I liked to wear black suits, and when I was here, I liked to wear black robes, which made me look reserved and calm. Yi Hua opened the door and saw Yi Yuanqing, who was dressed like a girl. I haven't dressed like this for a long time, I'm not used to it. Yi Yuanqing said in a low voice. It's good. Yi Hua said faintly. To be able to receive the approval of me is also a kind of blessing. As expected, after hearing Big Brother's approval, Yi Yuanqing didn't feel that awkward anymore. Big brother, I heard from third and fourth brother that you beat up father, is this true? Yi Yuanqing found it hard to believe. When did Big Brother become so awesome to even beat up father? It's true. Yi Hua said indifferently, as if he did something insignificant. Originally, Yi Hua thought that Yi Yuanqing would speak up for Yi Shan, but who knew that Yi Yuanqing would actually give him a thumbs up? This little sister has quite a personality, I like her a little. Don't misunderstand, this kind of liking is different from that kind of liking. Big brother, you are very handsome today. And I know. Yi Yuanqing lowered her head and smiled lightly. Big brother is still so frank, he doesn't know how to compliment me at all. As the little sister, Yi Yuanqing walked behind Yi Hua. In actuality, Yi Yuanqing is also a general now, so it is normal for her to walk side by side with him. However, Yi Yuanqing felt that she didn't surpass Big Brother at all, so she couldn't walk side by side with Big Brother yet. Yi Hua didn't really care about these etiquettes. After all, the number of people who are able to walk at the same pace as me are too few. In the entire Yi clan, only Yi Shan and Yi Yuanqing were officials. Even Yi Qin did not have an official position. This was also the emperor's intention. He did not want too many people in the Yi clan to interfere in politics. After all, Yi family had Yi Hua. Yi Shan felt that everything that happened was all Yi Hua's fault, and if it wasn't for Yi Hua, Yi family would have long reached the top. Would he still end up in a second-rate family? Being laughed at by others. The carriage was already parked outside. The one sitting in the front was Yi Shan's. As a junior, he could only sit in the back. Yi Hua and Yi Yuanqing directly sat on the carriage at the back, and the carriage headed towards the imperial palace. In the carriage, Yi Yuanqing didn't know what to say when he saw how calm his elder brother was. Comfort Big Brother? It seemed that Big Brother didn't need to be comforted at all. If he encountered such a thing, he would definitely be anxious. Even if he didn't show it, he would feel anxious in his heart. However, he felt that his big brother didn't take it to heart at all. He really didn't know how his big brother managed to cultivate such a state of mind. Yi family wasn't very far away from the imperial palace, and sitting in a carriage was also a kind of status symbol. No matter what, it was still Yi family. If they were to walk, wouldn't it be very degrading? The three arrived at the entrance of the imperial palace and got off the carriage. When Yi Hua got off the carriage, everyone in the surroundings went into a daze. This is the legendary Yi Hua. Prince Yi. The only prince with an outsider surname. We pay our respects to Prince Yi. The imperial guards in the surroundings all shouted out in a low voice, and their voices were definitely able to be transmitted into the imperial palace. Yi Hua said faintly, "Get up." Everyone felt an imposing aura coming from Yi Hua. Those three words were said too easily, too naturally, as if he had already been a prince for many years. Yi Shan stood at the side and didn't say anything. It would be a lie if he didn't feel angry in his heart. Being beaten up by his son was truly a type of grievance. This was also the first time he was beaten up by his son, and it was the kind where he didn't even have the strength to fight back. Yi Yuanqing felt that the distance between him and his big brother had become a bit further. I thought that after 1,000 years the distance between me and big brother should have become closer, but it turns out that it didn't. The people who were queuing at the back also looked at Yi Hua with astonishment in their eyes. It's really him. He came back. He is even more domineering than before. It used to be General Yi, but now it's Prince Yi. Greetings, General Yi. The guard greeted Yi Yuanqing respectfully. If Yi Hua was not here, Yi Shan would feel very proud. Everyone felt that the Yi family was going to rise again. The combination of the prince and the general would probably return to the situation in the past. Was the Yi family going to be the dominant family again? Was the lesson from back then not deep enough? Yi Hua directly walked towards the palace, and Yi Yuanqing followed behind him. On the other hand, how could Yi Shan follow behind his son? So, as a father, he would go in after they left. Yi Hua looked at the enormous imperial palace. Compared to my Wushu Empire, this place is slightly inferior. This place is filled with a sense of age. Yi Hua's imperial palace was considered to be too new. Yi Hua's imperial palace was too new. Big brother, how do you feel? Yi Yuanqing asked curiously. Yi Hua said faintly, not bad. Prince Yi, long time no see. Prime Minister Shan Junren greeted with a smile on his face. Yi Yuanqing still wanted to attack and shouted, Prime Minister! Yuanqing, long time no see. You are getting more and more beautiful. Did you find a good family? Prime Minister Shan asked curiously. Yi Yuanqing smiled amiably, there is no hurry now, let's talk about it in the future. Yuanqing, marriage has always been decided by parents, you have to think more about it. Prime Minister Shan said with a teasing tone. Prime Minister is right. Prince Yi, let's go in. You are the main character today, without you there would be less joy. Yi Hua said lightly, if I am not here, you all should be even happier. Ah, Prince Yi sure knows how to joke. Yi Yuanqing, who was standing at the side, felt that Big Brother had become more tactful. Not only Yi Yuanqing thought so, Shan Junren also felt that this Yi Hua is much better at using his brain than before. In the past, Yi Hua was a one-track-minded person, but now he is actually so experienced. It seems like during these few years, this fellow has never given up and is constantly training his brain. On this point, Shan Junren guessed correctly. Yi Hua trained his brain by watching Calabash brothers saving his grandfather. Just when the three of them walked to the main hall of the imperial palace, a few figures attracted Yi Hua's gaze. Chapter 998. Huang Yun was slightly in front, Chen Yi was on his left, and Chen Yuqing was on his right. Today Chen Yuqing looked extremely beautiful. This kind of beauty was almost the same as Qinya and the others. They were dressed in festive red robes that were embroidered with exquisite patterns. They matched Huang Yun's robes very well. The two of them were dressed in such a way, and their intentions were very clear. Only an unmarried couple would dress like this. Huang Yun was in an exceptionally good mood today. The woman in his heart was finally his. So what if that Yi Hua came back? His father wanted him dead. He had to die. As for Chen Yuqing, she could marry him with just a word from his father. No matter how awesome you Yi Hua are, the only thing you lack is a father with monstrous power. And I, Huang Yun, only have this old man. You can have him for the rest of your life. Of course, Chen Yuqing also saw Yi Hua. Chen Yuqing slightly lowered her head, seemingly like she didn't dare to make eye contact with Yi Hua, just like a child who did something wrong. However, in his heart he was thinking, since Yi Hua wants to protect me, then I can't let Yi Hua worry about me. Furthermore, Yi Hua definitely has a way to free me from this kind of restriction. I just have to obediently listen to Yi Hua's words, and it will be fine as long as I don't disrupt Yi Hua's plans. Yi Yuanqing looked at Huang Yun and his sister-in-law. His gaze was a little shocked. Sister-in-law's appearance. Why did he look so guilty towards his big brother? What was going on? Could it be that sister-in-law was willing to marry Huang Yun? This was impossible. Sister-in-law wasn't that kind of person. Huang Yun and Chen Yi were both sizing up Yi Hua. Huang Yun appeared to be very calm. Right now your woman is by my side, what else can you do? If you have the ability, come and snatch it. As long as you dare to. Even if your crime is confirmed, Imperial Father will have 10,000 reasons to execute you. Chen Yi's gaze was different. After all, he was her son-in-law in the past and they often met. At that time their relationship was quite good. However, the current Yi Hua made Chen Yi feel that he was very different from the past. Although Yi Hua's expression is still the same, I feel that compared to the Yi Hua in the past, this Yi Hua will be a bit more decisive. In the past, Yi Hua was a bit sloppy and this was also his biggest flaw. Right now Yi Hua was also looking at the three people, but what Yi Hua was looking at wasn't Huang Yun. Not Chen Yuqing either. It was Chen Yi. Yi Hua felt that it was funny in his heart. To think that enemies would actually meet under this kind of environment. This man's ear was chopped off by me in the past. I didn't expect to meet him here. This can also be considered as the first enemy to appear. Should I kill him directly? Lord Yi. Huang Yun greeted with a smile and even bowed. In terms of seniority and position, it was normal for Huang Yun to bow. Yi Hua looked at this Huang Yun in front of him and felt that this Huang Yun was a worthy opponent. Huang Yun's relationship with Yi Hua was so stiff, and yet he was still able to come over and greet Yi Hua. There are quite a few people like this in the world, and only opponents like this would be interesting. I wonder who is stronger, you or your father. So, it's the ninth prince. Yi Hua said indifferently. Huang Yun's current state of mind was extremely good. He began introducing Chen Yuqing to Yi Hua. Prince Yi, this is Chen Yuqing, she is my fiancée. We are going to get married in a few days. Yuqing, hurry up and greet her. Chen Yuqing shook her lips and slightly leaned forward. Prince Yi. Huang Yun didn't know why, but when he heard Chen Yuqing calling Yi Hua Prince Yi, he felt especially comfortable in his heart, indescribably comfortable, as if he had won against Yi Hua. Furthermore, he won it from a woman. Snatching money, snatching equipment, there is nothing better than snatching women. This kind of feeling is incomparable. Yi Hua looked at Chen Yuqing coldly. This gaze caused Huang Yun to feel even more comfortable. No matter how awesome you are, isn't your woman still going to sleep with me? Ha 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 ha. Prince Yi, this is Lord Chen Yuqing's father. Huang Yun continued introducing. However, this introduction made Yi Hua a bit surprised. I thought that Chen Yuqing was just an outsider. I really didn't expect that he would be my enemy. He is actually Chen Yuqing's father. This is getting interesting. Prince Yi. Prime Minister Shan Junren could be seen walking over with an amiable smile, and behind him was a young man. This young man was Shan Junren's youngest son, Shan Yu. Shan Yu had a dignified appearance, his eyes were as bright as silver stars, and his body was tall and straight. A man like this should be someone who fought on the battlefield, but looking at Shan Yu's official uniform, he seems to be a civil official. Seems like he is walking on the same path as his father. At this moment, Yi Yuanqing whispered into Yi Hua's ear, Big brother, this is the Prime Minister, Shan Junren, and beside him is his son, Shan Yu. A trace of an arc suddenly appeared on the corner of Yi Hua's mouth. Prime Minister Shan, it has been many years since we last met, but you are still the same as before. The attitude that Yi Hua suddenly displayed caused everyone to become speechless. This **King drift was too fast, to the point where no one was able to react to it at all. A second ago it was as if he was looking at everyone as his enemy, and in the next second he was actually smiling. *CKME. The speed at which his face changed was simply too fast. Furthermore, he was even smiling towards Prime Minister Shan Junren. One must know that in the past, Yi Hua was a general, and Prime Minister Shan Junren didn't get along very well. The opinions of the civil and military officials must be quite different, which was why there was a dispute. In any case, the relationship between the two of them was not good in the past. But now it was as if he had met an old friend. Right now, Shan Junren was a bit stupefied. Just what is this Yi Hua trying to do? He actually smiled at me? There was a deep meaning to it. Moreover, Chen Yuqing was about to become someone else's wife, yet he could still smile. Was he pretending? Or was he acting? After all, the emperor's intention was for Yi Hua to go and kidnap the bride, then find an excuse to kill him. According to Yi Hua's character, he would definitely go and kidnap the bride, but what about now? Shan Junren couldn't hold it in anymore. I have never seen Yi Hua smile before, and furthermore he smiled so happily. Shan Yu, who was at the back, naturally recognized Yi Hua. Towards Yi Hua, who was acting like this, Shan Yu was very puzzled. I feel more comfortable looking at Yi Hua with a straight face. Yi Hua merely laughed lightly, then retracted his smile. This was the normal expression that Yi Hua had on his face. As for the other expressions, they were all abnormal. Even Qingya and Donghuang Baiji felt that Yi Hua, who was acting coquettishly, was just like a lunatic. Prince Yi, this old man is already someone who has one foot in the coffin, unlike you youngsters. In the future, Lingdu still needs fresh blood like you guys. Shan Junren sorted out his emotions and said with a slight smile. In actuality, Shan Junren was saying those words for Huang Yun to hear. If nothing goes wrong, you will be the emperor of the entire deity's kingdom in the future. Huang Yun naturally understood what Shan Junren meant. After Father Emperor abdicates, this throne will belong to me. At this moment, Qian Yi said with a smile, what Prime Minister Shan said is right, this world belongs to the youngsters. Lord Qin, I have yet to properly congratulate you. Shan Junren cupped his hands and said with a smile. Chapter 999. This made Qian Yi extremely happy. In the future, the Empress would be her own daughter. Of course, the Qin family had to grow. Just by looking at Shan Junren's attitude, one could tell that he was already starting to flatter him. Qian Yi also cupped her hands and smiled. This is all my daughter's good fortune, the heavens are watching over her. Lord Qian, Lord Yi is still standing here. Don't you think your words are a little unpleasant? All of a sudden, a voice rang out as a man walked over. He was wearing the same robe as Huang Yun. This person's appearance was somewhat similar to Huang Yun's, but his appearance was slightly mediocre. However, this was not a problem because he was the first prince. Imperial calendar. Seeing this person approach, the surrounding people respectfully called out, "First prince." Imperial brother. Huang Yun also had to address him respectfully. Yi Hua did not say anything. However, Huang Li walked in front of Yi Hua and said with a smile, "Prince Yi." Yi Hua silently nodded his head. Regarding what Huang Li just said, he felt quite comfortable. Huang Yun was the emperor's most beloved son, so the crown prince would definitely be unhappy. Didn't humans often say that the enemy of an enemy was a friend? Interesting. Lord Qin, you didn't have this attitude back then, Huang Li said in a teasing tone. He was the only one who dared to say such a thing. The others really didn't have the guts. Shan Junren looked at the first prince's attitude and had some suspicions. In the past, the relationship between the first imperial prince and Yi Hua wasn't very good. Right after Yi Hua returned, the first imperial prince's attitude towards Yi Hua changed. Could it be, the eldest prince was the eldest son after all? Enjoy the priority of inheritance. Now that the position of the crown prince had not been decided, it was hard to say who would win or lose. However, it seemed that the ninth prince had a higher chance of winning. As long as there were no mistakes, the ninth prince would definitely be the crown prince, and then it would be confirmed. But now, the first prince's intention seemed to be to rope in Yi Hua. It wasn't that the first prince had never done such a thing in the past, but in the end he was definitely rejected by Yi Hua. But at that time, Imperial Cloud did not exist at all, and now he had to continue to rope them in. Furthermore, looking at Yi Hua's attitude just now, he doesn't seem to be disgusted at all. Seems like I have to report this matter to the emperor. At this moment, Qian Yi was extremely embarrassed and did not know what to say. Qian Yuqing also felt uncomfortable standing at the side, as if she was a woman who had abandoned her husband and son. Yi Hua, hurry up and think of a way. Yuqing is embarrassed to even stand here. Don't look at Yuqing like that. Yuqing's body and mind are all yours. This life is yours. Brother Emperor, that's where your words are wrong. Is there anything wrong with a girl getting married when she's of age? Huang Yun was definitely going to stand out and speak up right now. He could not afford to lose face here. However, the two princes standing at the palace gate had already attracted some attention. Huang Li chuckled. Ninth brother, this is called snatching my love away from me. This is a decree from my father. Huang Yun said calmly. In that case, Yuqing, you need to be careful. This is just Imperial Father's decree. As expected of the eldest prince, he wasn't careless when it came to arguing with others. Seeing the slight change in Huang Yun's expression, Huang Li said, Yuqing, you used to follow Lord Yi around a lot. Why have you changed? The moment these words were said, Huang Yun's expression darkened even more. At this moment, Yi Hua said calmly, once a woman has a change of heart, she will fall out with her husband. That's why acting cool and smacking faces required cooperation. This Huang Li's cooperation was quite good. Yi Yuanqing, who was at the side, didn't know what his big brother meant. When Qian Yuqing heard what Yi Hua said about her, her heart trembled in pain. She began consoling herself that Yi Hua did this on purpose to protect her. Huang Yun was angry. These two people actually dared to say such things about the woman that I like. How can I tolerate this? Enough. Qian Yuqing is my woman, show some respect. Following Huang Yun's shout, the civil and military officials all looked over. This was the first time that Huang Yun lost his composure. When was it the easiest for a man to lose his composure? It was when it was because of a woman. What is the matter outside? A dignified voice could be heard coming out from within the palace. This caused everyone to tremble. This is the voice of Lingdu's emperor. A eunuch walked forward and shouted, "Enter the palace." Following the eunuch's shout, everyone began entering the palace. Yi Hua looked at the palace of the highest ruler of the gods' realm. Compared to my main body's palace, this palace is just a bit lacking. The one who was sitting on the throne was naturally Huang Feidi. When Huang Feidi saw Yi Hua walking over, Huang Feidi immediately stood up. Prince Yi, it really is my Prince Yi. Quickly come over and let me take a good look at you. This was also the first time that Yi Hua saw the Emperor of God's realm. The feeling he got was pretty good. At the very least, this Emperor's aura and aura are the best that I have ever seen. Since I am the Yi Hua of the past, I have to play this role well. Yi Hua walked towards the Emperor. As long as I, the Supreme Overlord, wish to, I will be able to twist off the Emperor's head right now. However, if I do that, I will lose a lot of fun. Since he wants to play with his brain, I, the Supreme Overlord, am willing to accompany him. Huang Feidi sized up Yi Hua. If this Yi Hua is a fake, Huang Feidi doesn't really believe it. The feeling that this Yi Hua gives me is exactly the same as the Yi Hua of the past. However, even if that was the case, Huang Feidi would rather that this Yi Hua was a fake. If that was the case, it would just be a false alarm. Huang Feidi could be seen patting onto Yi Hua's shoulders. Yi Hua, it's good that nothing happened. This is a blessing for spiritual capital. It's a blessing for the people. Yi Hua also put on an act and said, thanks to your majesty's protection, Yi Hua was able to escape death. Haha Yi Hua, let's not talk about other things tonight, let's drink to our heart's content. Yi Hua nodded his head. You, the emperor, just want to drink to your heart's content? I don't believe you. You should have already arranged the following programs, right? Indeed, Huang Feidi seemed to be very happy. However, this kind of attitude of his was all an act that he put on for all of the civil and military officials to see. Huang Feidi wanted the officials to spread the news of what happened tonight. Seeing that Yi Hua has returned, I am so happy. Prince Yi, take a seat of honor. Huang Feidi said with a slight smile. Just now, when Yi Hua came into contact with Huang Feidi, he discovered that Yi Hua had changed a bit. However, he was unable to tell what had changed. There were 4 tables below the emperor. On the right side was Yi Hua's, and on the left side was Prime Minister Shan Juanren's. The first one on the left was Huang Li and the second one was Huang Yun. However, Huang Yun needed Chen Yuqing by his side. Towards such a situation, everyone felt that the atmosphere was filled with awkwardness. This Chen Yuqing used to be Prince Ye's woman, and right now she is actually married to a junior. Such a scene is truly rarely seen. Furthermore, Yi Hua is even sitting there as if nothing happened. Just how much courage does he have to do that? However, for people like Chen Yi Yuanqing could only sit at the bottom and not at the top. You're tuning in to the Han Li's Wuxia Chronicles YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.